Hi. Yay!
We're good? We got it? Okay, hi.
Well,
Welcome
you missed
to
K-Wing
Day 2.
Sirens, so it's fine.
Honestly, that's good. I don't know why there's a bunch of sirens going off in front of my building. But anyway, welcome to day 2 of the Kunoichi Kocoa tournament. We are in the bracket stage, and we have had some surprising results throughout this tournament. We have Rainbow Road facing off against Vancouver Titans Blue. And when we went into this game, we had Vancouver Titans Blue as the top dog, one of the teams that was really going to be a scary one coming into the bracket stage. And, well, we had a bit of surprise when we looked at the standings today.
When we were looking at Vancouver Titans Blue yesterday and talking about their matchup against Yupikari, and then afterwards we were looking at Rainbow Road going into the Drainers and thinking, okay, probably going to be two very similar matches in that you're kind of expecting VT Blue and NYXL Drainers to be kind of the two top dogs coming out of their respective bracket, but Vancouver Titans Blue actually going 3-2. They a positive record, but dropping those two matches there was perhaps a little bit unexpected. Nonetheless, I don't think they're going to be scared necessarily going into this, but they do need to be a little bit more cognizant. We were talking for a little while about, those teams, they don't want to drop those matches in those qualifier brackets. You like having a good seeding going into this, but playing into Rainbow Road as your first opponent, I think you can be not comfortable, but not shaking, right? We just want to go into this calm, level-headed, we'll be fine. I'm going to take a look at the bracket now. We don't have it for you, but I'll tell it for you nonetheless. It will be Rainbow Road versus Vancouver Titans Blue in our round 1. The other top dogs are going to be Michael Wave versus Yupikari, so expect them. NYXL Drainers will be going against Samsara, and the Weird Squad will be going against 4 Kittens 1 Bull. We'll be cutting away to the second half of the bracket for round 2, so we'll get to see the winner of NYXL Drainers, Samsara, and Weird Squad 4 Kittens 1 Bull. But looking at the Rainbow Road lineup, I mean, we saw these guys yesterday. Candy, Kuna, Cat, Finopi, and Claire. There's a lot of K sounds, which I was realizing was kind of a problem for me trying to remember all the different players, because I tend to segment people in my head based on their username. And there's too much similarity, so I struggle a little bit in that regard. But we know what these guys can do. We know what they like to run. I think if they do stick to like this Sigma half brawl, half poke look that they were showing, I think it'll work out. I do think the Ramatra tends to do better in that matchup, but the Sigma is better at deterring the dive that some teams do like to run. Vancouver Titans Blue, though, I think no matter which composition they want to run, they can probably do so comfortably. I feel like we were seeing quite a lot of that Ramatra last time, but either way, I don't imagine them being particularly scared. How do you feel about it?
I mean, you would think that they wouldn't be scared, but with how tough this group stage has been for them, I don't think you can call any of these matches a done deal, especially not with how Rainbow Road has been performing. I mean, if you look at the standings that we had coming into this stage, we saw that for Vancouver Titans Blue, coming in with 3-2, the second place team in that group 2, which VTB and Rainbow Road were both in, that was Rainbow Road, second only to NYXL Drainers. Speaking of VTB, you got names that are incredibly familiar. You got Mickman Phone, Safrona, and Nostalgia, all names that are incredibly familiar, and this team that has been around the block, this team that's been in this scene for a while. You have to be surprised when they're struggling, and especially when the next sort of marginalized gender tournament that they're going to be running into is going to be those finals for Calling All Heroes.
What in particular was a name we were seeing a lot yesterday, just kind of popping up in the kill feed even at the unexpected moments. So for Vancouver Titans Blue, I mean, I don't want to attribute it to nerves. I don't want to attribute it to complacency necessarily. These teams were surely going at it with everything they had, but it is a little bit surprising to see that it was maybe Rainbow Road that made them trip up and made them struggle a little bit more than otherwise would have been expected. I think going into this match, I'll be seeing one way or another whether it was just a one-off or maybe the Vancouver Titans Blue roster, with age comes wisdom, but also you get slow, you get cranky, right? You're just more interested in the daily newspaper. Maybe it's time for a little bit of fresh blood to come in, make a name for themselves in their own way. We'll be starting on Nepal again, just like yesterday. Same starting map pool, but going over to rounds 2 and potentially 3 and 4, as we are still on a first to 2 circuit. It'll be interesting to see what maps these teams want to go to, as they are two that can go blow for blow, and map pick is going to become significantly more important going forwards.
Agreed, and that's where control comes into so much sway. When you're talking about a first to 3 series, which again, this is not, a first to 3 series, you know, control is important, but you have more time to pivot if you lose control. If you lose control in a first to 2, you are down and out, it seems, unless you can pull off the reverse sweep, unless you can win 2 maps in a row. It is a rough situation to put yourself in as we look at the heroes.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at when we look at control in particular, especially with Nepal's Sanctum, it is usually more of a poke-favored map. We don't see too many teams trying to run the dive in it. Going over to the Reinhardt for Vancouver Titans Blue, Phone just hovering over that right now. I don't dislike it, but I feel like if you allow Rainbow Road to set up along that high ground adjacent to the objective too early on, you're going to find yourself in a really rough situation where the Reinhardt has to expend so many resources alongside that Lucio speed amp just to close the distance to stop that primary fire spam being as impactful. And as we see Candy going off that Symmetra over onto the Sojourn, this was another facet that we were talking about yesterday. The Sojourn just gains so much more benefit from those prolonged fights where she can build up to rail, and it's already nostalgia, caught out a little by that Maywall. No pick found yet, but okay, well, fair enough.
What opens it up with the headshot onto Claire, and Kuna again gonna go down. That's a huge shot, and Vancouver Titans Blue is gonna take first point. Really incredible play from What to just crack that fight open.
I saw Nostalgia get walled, and I was like, oh, okay, the loser's going to be able to escape. I don't have to hand off quite yet. And then immediately just what a name we were talking about in the kill feed just randomly popping up, randomly pops up. So honestly, my bad. I'll respect that from now on. I'll just assume that the Widowmaker is going to shoot anyone the second they're in sightline. But now it is the Reinhardt who has this positional advantage.
Hey,
I got caught out again. I got caught out again.
About that, getting taken down. You joke, and then it happens. As they lose their DPS and they're just stuck in this tiny choke. Phone free to swing as they please, as Cat just kind of given up. I mean, what can you do? You're just stuck. That is the face of someone utterly defeated.
You go for the Giga Chad like, oh, okay, you want to swing on me with your big Rhine Hammer? I will simply stand here and block, right? It's the immovable object, unstoppable force. Except you then just get pinned out of your immortality field line of sight and wailed on once that Nemesis form is down, so... Yeah, I mean, it's a nice idea when it works, but maybe a little bit too flashy. Let's just focus on the point this time. Safrona pops the window early from that Baptiste.
And it's going to be a bit of delay for Rainbow Road as Cat a bit separated. Oh, Riptire coming in from Nickman, rolling around the corner. Is anyone gonna spot it? The Lucio spots it, but it only gets the immortality field. What? With the infra sight, has the peek around the corner. The shadow from Phone, not gonna find much. Blizzard into the backline, freezes up Phone, but Pinopi's gone. Immortality field bursts through as Phone gets eventually taken down. Shots traded. Kuna is gonna end up with a win over What? And now Cat trying to push through to clean up these stragglers fleeing through the sideway.
Oh, little trap on Cat there, unfortunate, but not going to delay it too much. I'm afraid Rainbow Road already in control, and importantly, they hold on to 4 ultimates. Only the Blizzard invested there, whereas Vancouver Titans Blue, no window, no shatter, no tire, no infra sights. They invested 4 to lose that fight, and now it's the Widowmaker getting caught out on the sidelines, but turns it on the May.
And Kuna gets completely taken down by Mickman, and it's just Rainbow Road over on the side looking to use that amplification matrix. Well, Candy's gonna pop ult. They need to land the shots. Beat gonna be used by Nostalgia, and Pinopi's gonna be the first to fall. Candy next, and the aggression from BTB is insane as Kuna's gonna take down Mickman, and Cat with the Annihilation has found a pick, so there might be the turnaround for Rainbow Road, but they lose their Ramatra, and it might be all hope lost as just the stall coming in from Pinopi is taken away by Phone. Riptire rolling right through, trying to catch anyone rolling at there, but What with the headshot onto Kuna, and it's just Phone ready to stagger out.
as we just try and keep the point rolling a little bit. It is going to be that Lucio marking the point to make sure that no one else can get on. Finopi tries to come in, gets boot back, and now it's the Doomfist to just keep the stall going for as long as possible. Shadow from Zone goes completely wide. Rainbow Road, they have an opening now.
They have 2 picks open. They take out Prone. And now all of a sudden, Rainbow Road on this scrappy composition, the Doomfist have an opportunity. Nostalgia gets taken out, and now VTB is at the drawing board.
Prone briefly switches over to the Doomfist. Vancouver Titans Blue, they consider going for a quick retouch to try and stall out. Decide, no, actually not worth it. But Mickman now stuck committing onto this Sombra. The Sombra Widow Ryan composition is not something I was expecting to see today, and with Kuna already making that switch over to the Genji, the Rainbow Road comp actually is not too bad. It is that Baptiste who is vulnerable though out of everyone.
Hack going in onto the Doomfist, and Cat's gonna get burst down immediately. Mickman barely able to stay alive, 40 HP, but still takes out Kuna. That's an incredible play from VTB, and it'll win them round 1 after some staggers from Rainbow Road. What was a valiant effort, to say the least, has turned into a victory, a hard-fought one for round 1.
That overtime stall contest that Rainbow Road were able to turn into actually capping and bring it up to 83% made us able to completely gloss over the fight prior. I'm going to bring it up now because I have time. Because we were talking about Vancouver Titans Blue using 4 ultimates and losing the fight and how that was kind of egregious. Rainbow Road in the next fight used 5 ultimates and still lose, including Finopi Ajaxing at the start of the fight. Okay? We didn't pick up on that in the moment, but I'm bringing it up now. You do not escape my ever-seeing gaze. Unfortunately, I will point that one out. No, I was scared at the end that Cat was going to get hacked and fall into that Sanctum pit, but realistically for Rainbow Road, I think they had the stronger composition overall, but when Wood can just find heads like that, you start thinking, okay, maybe the Sigma was maybe a little better at shooting out the window than the Ram would have been, and looking at even more poke coming through from Vancouver Titans Blue, the Far Mercy, a somewhat classic on Village, but usually going to get pressured out regardless. Cat already so low on the Orisa.
Yeah, Cat is in some danger, hiding behind that cover. Has to have the Immortality field come out, and just Nostalgia the first to fall as Cat gets traded out. It is a trade fest happening right now. Rainbow Road picking up 2. Saffrona's gonna get taken down in the end, and that is point A going the way of Rainbow Road.
Point A, and the only point on Village, is slowly ticking up for Nopi. Just sat around on the objective. Vancouver Titans Blue decide, yeah, okay, that was enough of that. Going back over to the Ram Baptiste May. Casey leaking over into me there, always confusing Bastion and Baptiste. Rainbow Road's composition, I think, is going to have a little bit more ease in terms of flexing between the high ground and the low ground. That Orisa just able to speed around a little bit more, but it's the poke that we're really looking at here. Javelin from Cat, able to force out Immortality Field early, is going to give Rainbow Road the advantage going into this fight.
Yeah, that was a massive play, and Nobi playing very aggressive. Candy caught up in the E of what has to dash away. Cat using that fortified just to try and keep on point, pushing back in, but Candy with the headshot onto what? Taking them down, and now focusing on this Lucio, very much out of position, but gets away in the end, and Nickman finds Pinopi as well. That's a huge play, but Sakrona gone. The Baptiste of VTB is dashed. Nostalgia gone, and there it is. Somehow VTB dropped that fight.
Rainbow Road there, that was very losable for them. Vancouver Titans Blue denying Finopi early means that they weren't able to build up to their sound barrier. 96%, I believe, when they dropped. That is, you know, a very real win condition that Vancouver Titans Blue were able to set up for themselves, but just not capitalize upon. And that's what I talk about when I say that Rainbow Road's composition could just reposition that little bit easier. They've got the Genji, they've got the Orisa. They can just go around between the high ground and the low ground. They don't mind giving up the point there. They lost 28%. But they win the fight, and they're going into the next one with 5 ultimates that Vancouver Titans Blue are going to have to respond to, whilst they don't have control of the high ground.
No, and they already lose Saffrona. Rainbow Road might not even need a single ult for this fight. They lose Kuna, and the Blizzard's gonna come out. Pinopi uses the beat for all 4, but Cat's still gone. The damage is too much. Nostalgia does get taken out. I believe that was another Ajax. I think that's the second we've had this single map. As Finopi gonna get taken down as well. Point going to flip over maybe to VTB as Claire goes down. That will be the flip coming through eventually with 82% for Rainbow Road.
That's the crucial thing. Rainbow Road able to just keep staggering and stalling for long enough that they bring it to last fight territory. Vancouver Titans Blue, they hold on to the majority of their ult bank, aside from the Blizzard and the sound barrier. It's now just the Annihilation window and Overclock, but Rainbow Road, they're going in with equal ultimate advantage. I think you're just looking at phone to try and find value on the Annihilation if Wood can't find a pick on the Overclock. It's no way, the window Overclock is just immediately sidelined. What now? Testing on the aggression to try and find someone.
Cooling down.
Too early.
That's so sad. And the amplification matrix just way too early. And so Rainbow Road going to have to wait. It's gonna be about one fight for them as there's the amplification matrix. Wade from Kuna on the Genji just gets taken down. What? Finds the shot and the E. And there's the Annihilation from Phone just goes completely wide. Can't find a single thing. We're into as close as we can get to a dry fight. Terra Surge into the back, but it's walled off. Can they break the wall? They can. They get the damage in on the Phone. Nostalgia gone, but traded out. Both Lucio's gone. What taken down? Cat just dueling the Ramatra on the point. A world of tanks, and we're just living in it right now. Nickman getting taken down, and finally, Rainbow Road wrests control of this point away from Vancouver Titans Blue. We're gonna stagger in a bit more. You're already at 99.
Ooh, Safrona going down late there after the point had already flipped is a nightmare scenario. Your Baptiste is not going to be able to get back in time. They've lost the Lucio and they've lost the Baptiste. Safrona has to switch now. Okay, going over to the Kiriko. You want 95% on the objective. You don't have time.
I don't know if they're even gonna be able to touch. They just barely get the Doomfist toes on the point. As overtime gonna start burning down, Nickman can't even get there in time. Cats is gonna melee them. The point does flip over for VTB, and overtime Wick will start burning down as the point flipping over. Just trying to hold sway. There is the pulse on Pacuna thrown into the backline. Finds the pick onto what Safrona seems to follow, and Cat to end this off. Taking Rainbow Road 100 to 99. We're going to round 3.
Rainbow Road, they have the advantage of we didn't have to change our entire composition to try and touch the last second. So they can just hold on to the ultimates that they'd been building up for all that period. Both the Pulse Bomb and the Window come out to properly seal out the eliminations at the end of that round. And yeah, I mean, Vancouver Titans Blue, it feels like they've got these win conditions set out for them. They get a little too greedy. When Kuna's Blade came out, saw the Baptiste, decided, actually, no, I'd rather go for the Sojourn instead, right? I don't want to, I'm settled for just burning Regen Burst and Immortality Field. I want to get an elimination. Gets punished by Wood, who just power slides out, daps the Genji with the rail shot. You're thinking, okay, well, you know, that's a Blade gone, right? That's an entire ultimate that Rainbow Road had, entirely shut out by just a small misplay. VTB, they've got the win conditions, they just need to chill out a little bit more and figure out how they can, you know, go from throwing the fight away to actually turning it into a win.
Early positioning taken on the point by Vancouver Titans Blue as Nickman now on the Genji, and VTB onto the Junker Queen comp, trying to really go with this brawl on the Orisa and gonna get the pick onto Finopi early. That is a big loss for this brawl comp with the Orisa, losing your speed, losing your life, and there's Cat who's doing the same. What? Oh, with the headshot as well. Claire going down. There you go. Vancouver Titans Blue firing right back.
We were talking about the repositional advantage of Rainbow Road on the Orisa-based composition. Going over to the Ramatra now, this is to help them anchor down. This Junker Queen Genji Sojourn is trying to separate and split and disorganize what Rainbow Road are doing. They've recognized that that's their win condition, and they've gone, all right, fine, we'll just play the Reaper, Ram, Moira, try and, disgruntle us now. We can just sit in our AoE forever. You can't get us alone.
Yeah, they're really trying to play this death ball comp. Wall comes in, and JQ, the phone just gets completely shredded. But what still finds the first pick with the railgun shot? Crowd freeze coming out from Kuna. Safrona over on the side, playing very aggressive, playing with some fire, and just barely avoids getting burnt. JQ's away, uses the Suzu. Very, very low. Has the Consuming Rush and gonna use it to get 2 whole picks for VTB and to seal them this fight.
That was a long fight as well. Rainbow Road were hoping to try and take that quickly because Vancouver Titans Blue, they've not had to make a compositional switch. Rainbow Road basically lost every ultimate, and not that they were particularly close to any, but all that ultimate charge was essentially reset when they had to make their composition switch. 75% and counting now for Vancouver Titans Blue on this point, and they still have 4 ultimates. This could be last fight. Rainbow Road don't have a response.
It could be, and they just need to try and build up these ultimates really quickly. They have the Coalescence, and they're going to use it very aggressively, but Mickman, with the blade, takes out Kunoichi. They're not going to be able to charge up to that beat, and the Blizzard will only freeze up 1, and they won't even get the pick. It's just what? With the overclock, taking out Candy, and it's all VTB. What was a close round 2 turns into a dominant round 3. Vancouver Titans Blue taking map 1, going to map point.
I think realistically for Rainbow Road there, they had the better composition. I think if they'd been given more time to warm up on it, they would have been able to take, probably just in the war of attrition, that last control point on Nepal. However, you don't get to play a war of attrition on control when you're losing your second fight and 60% have already gone away from you. You just don't have the time to play it for those slow picks and that slow grind down when the enemy already have built up to their ultimates. They can cycle those much more effectively than you can because you're still building up to 1 whilst they've built up to 5. And at the end of that, it's just... It's unlucky, it's unfortunate to say, but when you're playing to that overwhelming surplus of ult economy, I don't care that you have the better composition, you just can't do anything about all those ultimates. The Coalescence to take the initiative was a nice idea, but they just sound bare in response. The Blade comes through to really capitalize on the damage that isn't being mitigated by that Coalescence now, and yep. Close it out. Nepal is going the way of Vancouver Titans Blue.
And now for Rainbow Road, you have that smidgen of hope that round 2, your saving grace, you were able to fight it out incredibly well, incredibly tough. How can you catch lightning in a bottle again and try and get that for a full map as we go into what could be the last map for this game with this first to 2 sort of format? It's a really tough decision, and these map picks, like we were talking about at the start, are incredibly important and are incredibly gonna be life or death for these guys.
I mean, I think there's one advantage to be said about all the map types that we're going to be looking at going forward, which is unlike Control, that overwhelming ult economy snowball that will just end an entire round on Control isn't going to happen. When we look at Hybrid, when we look at Flashpoint, when we look at Push, those are maps where you can afford to just take a couple of lost fights and just be like, okay, that's fine. We'll eventually turn it around. We've got a lot more time to work with, right? Control doesn't offer you that kind of flexibility. However, that does also give the opportunity for Vancouver Titans Blue to go, all right, we can build up to 5 ultimates, respond with those 5 ultimates, recognize we're on the weaker composition now, and make our own trades to come back in stronger, and now we'll try and win that war instead. So I think for neither team, they're going to be particularly comfortable with this. I think that last, 100-0 on Shrine. I think I'm learning these slowly. Yeah, okay, I've only been playing this game for 7 years. 100-0 on Shrine is deceptive. That was a very, very close submap. It was just, if Rainbow Road had been able to play for one more fight, I think we would have seen a very different story indeed. But it is just Control. It runs away from you very quickly indeed. As we go over to Hybrid, it is going to be a different story, I do believe. It'll be interesting to see where they want to take us, though. I think if they're trying to force this kind of...
Hey, King's out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to try and set it up and be like, maybe there's a strategic decision behind it, but realistically, just because teams like King's Row, it's a map that everyone is familiar with. It's a map that people have scrimmed. They know how to play the map consistently because it's been in the game forever, and it's been played forever. It's just... It's not that King's Row is necessarily easy, but King's Row is comfortable. When you look at some of the other options instead, where you've got Midtown, Hollywood, Eichenwalde, right? Those are maps that maybe they've been played at points throughout the last little while, right? They've been played for a little bit here and there, but there's no hybrid map that has been played so consistently as King's Row. And when that's the case, and when you're especially trying to figure out how the composition matchup is going to work out, you just go somewhere comfortable. It's a little I don't know. I feel like it helps us as casters as well because we're familiar with the map and we know how it's going to play out. But, you know, a little bit of variety is also nice from time to time.
I mean, hey, I like eating, you know, spaghetti and meatballs as much as the next person. But, you
I had that
know,
last night.
I I would not like to only eat spaghetti and meatballs, you know?
No, that's fair.
As Vancouver Titans Blue start sneaking past like we're playing Metal Gear Overwatch. You've got the Ramatra composition coming out from Rainbow Road. I'm interested to see Candy swap and exactly what they're gonna go after the Widowmaker play, because that's usually the set play of peek out with the Widowmaker, switch to something else. Expecting to see the Sojourn, but who knows? Maybe we play fully on the Widowmaker, gonna take one shot and swap over right to the Sojourn. So it is basically a difference between the May Reinhardt, or pardon me, the May Ramatra and the Junkrat Reinhardt. So different types of burst damage coming through interestingly, and just taking a little bit of a longer fight here, not particularly waiting, engaging very quickly as Mixman just tries to rotate around. He's gonna shred through that shield. Aggressive play here by Cat, taking the fight to Phone, nearly shattering through that shield as Mickman turning around that rotation, trying to get a flank, but it's the headshot from Nostalgia. Kunoichi going down, but what? Eventually Rainbow Road's going to get the better of these trades, and with those close responds, gonna be absolutely winning this first fight and taking to the streets.
This is the key element of that matchup that you highlighted. It's the Mei versus the Junkrat. When you play the Junkrat, you have the ability to burst through Mei's walls that she's trying to use to isolate much faster than if you're playing pretty much any other DPS hero, because you can just grenade, concussion mine, okay, it's done. However, it does not allow you to use the wall of your own to deny the sightlines that Candy is trying to take, and it is that opening pick with the Sojourn rail shot that finds Nostalgia and allows Rainbow Road to push onto the objective. 5-minute time bank for them now is a massive advantage, and Mickman getting creative on these off angles, but it's only going to work once or twice before Rainbow Road catch on.
Yeah, Phone playing very dangerous here with that Mei wall on cooldown for Kuna as they're stepping in. A lot of ults coming up from BTB, and there's the shatter to catch 3 from Phone. And there's the try and counteract it. It's too late for Cat, but it might just be in time for Rainbow Road as the charge coming in. Phone, playing so aggressive. Kuna gets themselves walled off, but Phone is just in the middle of no man's land. Blizzard into the back, freezes up the Lucio. It's so many colors right now as the ults are flying left and right. And Vancouver Titans Blue will come out on top in a heavy ult fight, though.
The important thing, the crucial thing, whenever we look at these Lucio versus Mei matchup compositions, I've talked about it before, but I'll talk about it again, is the beat to Blizzard, okay? Rainbow Road, importantly, they used both their Blizzard and their beat, but Vancouver Titans Blue, they held theirs. Nostalgia has not used Sound Barrier, which means VTB can take this fight defensively now into the Annihilation.
And the Annihilation immediately, just like you said, and there's the beat to counteract it, and Cat just cannot play as aggressive as they'd like. They're gonna get charged right into the jaw. Candy and Wood both using their ults. Candy using theirs second, trying to find those early picks. The amplification matrix to counteract it. And Phone gonna stand and fire right through it. And there's the response amplification matrix. Anything they could do, you can do better, I suppose. As Mickman gonna find that first pick. Mickman gonna find a trap kill. Mickman with 3. Every part of this pit is being used to perfection.
Rainbow Road, they're really not utilizing the map space that their composition affords them to take. They can play a little bit slower, they can play a little bit pokier and really abuse the high grounds that Mickman cannot contest. Instead, they're just trying to really quickly run down main every single time and getting caught out by the sheer amount of Junkrat spam. Mickman already built another tire, Phone has another Earth Shatter, Vancouver Titans Blue have no support ultimates, but Rainbow Road have changed composition. Cat going over onto the Arisa now, Kuna is the only person who has any kind of ult available, going to be coming up on the Blizzard for this fight. Oh, sorry, Finopi, tell a lie, also has the Sound Barrier to try and counteract something, but what are you going to use it for, right? The Shadow can still find one even if you pop it.
Yeah, and you're still gonna find, and the Riptire can just delay itself unless you try perfectly. No way. No way you find a Finopi! 2 ults And just immediately there, Riptire's gonna find the immortality field to get this Baptiste incredibly low. What is Mickman? It's crazy, and Rainbow Road still wins the fight.
The downside for Vancouver Titans Blue of having Mickman play those off angles and play so wacky in that styling is that all of a sudden that spam damage you were using to deter that aggression, Rainbow Road are no longer taking it. It's on their backline, not the Orisa, who's able to just walk forwards for free onto a Reinhardt who can't do much, and onto a Baptiste who doesn't have Amp Matrix yet. So, it's going to be them breaking through that all-important choke and Phone getting stunned out of Shatter.
Oh, that's devastating. Finoki with the beat only catches 3 on the side of Rainbow Road, and Nickman's gonna get taken out still with the aggression. Candy and Claire both catching 1. And now Cat just pushing in aggressive and taking out Nostalgia. There you go, Rainbow Road finally getting on track.
I think this Orisa switch has been really good for the stylistic playmaking of Rainbow Road. They like playing fast, they like playing aggressive and just trying to bully the front line of Vancouver Titans Blue. And we're seeing Phone now actually go over to the Orisa as well to mirror it. This is interesting. I feel like a lot of the issues that both of these teams had could have been resolved by just playing their compositions a little differently, but taking the Orisa mirror match is going to give Vancouver Titans Blue at least maybe equal chance.
A lot of ults coming out. It is Candy with the overclock firing through the window, both windows out. Mickman narrowly staves off death. That is a few slivers of HP remaining for them. Is now what? As their overclock going to fire it at the Lucio, walled off by Kuno with coming up to the Blizzard, and Candy finds the pick immediately. That burst damage is deadly. What went from 200 to nothing in seconds? Mickman gonna find a pick. Both Lucio's gone. There's the Terra Surge in back. Blizzard thrown in, keeping the aggression going. Catches barely stays alive. Phone frozen up inside the Blizzard, but stays alive in the end. And it's Kuna getting taken out by what? Swapping onto the Widowmaker and forcing these sight lines and winning BTB. Just a bit of breathing room.
Rainbow Road, though, they only have to win one more fight to fully cap out King's Row, and finishing third point Kings is going to put them in a nice position. Even if they don't have a huge time bank, it can be very difficult to push through some of the chokes, and with both teams favoring these kind of half-poke, largely draw comps, ooh, having that advantage is very nice. That was almost Cat going over the edge there.
Oh, a meaty Terra Surge getting Finoki. Phone just going in so aggressively. He was perfect there, knocking the May right into their team on the other side of their wall. Kuno walled themselves off. An incredible play from the Orisa of Phone. And Rainbow Road are struggling. They have so many ults that they're down now.
I mean, Kuna going over to the Genji is maybe not fantastic. It's trying to contest this Widowmaker a little bit more, but just again, we were talking about the lack of May. You can no longer deny the sightlines. Not that what's going to need them. Phone and Saffron have already beaten the to it. The Amp Matrix came out, but that Widowmaker did not find anyone yet, and now with 30 seconds left, Rainbow Road maybe not going to be capping this one out. After all, they're still trying to build up to anything they can turn this with.
I mean, they have 3 ults coming through, and that's going to be what they need. They just cannot die to this Riptire that's coming through their backline. Mickman already going to get taken down, and Kuna's going to get found out through that Riptire. A good play and a good trade. Both DPS going down. The 4v4, Claire using the window early, and what's going to get taken down? This is the opportunity for Rainbow Road. They want to keep Cat's ult to try and save themselves something. Andy going to use the overclock from the high ground. Can they find that crucial pick? They're going to take out Nostalgia, but they can't find anything more, so there's still going to be a concentrated effort. Cat, with the Terra Surge, going to use it incredibly aggressively, throwing it into the backline maybe. There's the Immortality Field to keep Cat alive. It's going to get the pick onto Mickman, but no one's touching the point. And that is going to be round 1. Going to Rainbow Road. 3, a full capture, and that is completely correct, Kuna. That is a C9.
And that's an egregious C9 at that. We were talking about the way that they were still trying to build up to ultimates to turn it. The cart had rolled back so far that Rainbow Road would have realistically had to win 2 consecutive fights there, and they used both the overclock and the amplification matrix, the ultimates that you'd usually expect to be the fight openers, to just win the first fight. Vancouver Titans Blue, though, they decided to stretch that fight on for so long, and then just not contest the objective. All of that space that Rainbow Road fought for, but then should have been punished by expending too many resources in order to try and obtain, they don't even get punished a little bit, because Vancouver Titans Blue just keep holding S. They funnel themselves away, get caught off in the small room. It's not even like Rainbow Road were using the Mei to like wall them off and force them in there. VTB just didn't walk forwards. Like, there's really no other way around that. They had the Orisa, they had the Lucio. Either one of them would have been able to get around any kind of boop or stun there with Fortify or Wall Riding, but nope. Nope, just stood around and let it happen. An unfortunate turn of events, but fortunately, on the flip side, they did run it down into overtime. So as long as Vancouver Titans Blue now finish with over a minute, they can play for just 1 point cap win here. If they're able to get it going, it's going to be Wood starting off from the Widowmaker, looking for another pick yet again, as is to be expected. Surely no one from Rainbow Road egos this. Okay, no, thankfully.
It would be really funny if they tried to ego peek what on the Widowmaker. They would definitely die as Mickman's staying on the Genji. It is almost a complete mirror with the change of the Bappers, the Kiriko, and what a combo from Mickman and Phone taking out Kuna immediately. Just an incredible combo, and Rainbow Road gonna go incredibly low on health. Gonna cram themselves into Hotel just to try and stay alive for a few more moments. Cat's gonna jump out and take so much damage. They need to stay on this point. They need something. They can't just let this point go, but Cat's gonna get shredded. And Mickman will dash through the rest. And Rainbow Road can't hold point A for even a full minute. It's 50 seconds down.
Kuno trying to contest the high ground around the start there, which is what you want your Genji to be doing, but it means the Genji gets isolated out. And once that pick is found, there's nothing stopping Vancouver Titans Blue from just fully utilizing the high ground for themselves as well. Both Wood and Mickman are able to just get up there, find picks further still, and then they have control of the objective. I liked the way that Rainbow Road were trying to just give up 2 tickets and then get back in the fight. However, you're still down 1, and in that 5 versus 4, the Genji just doesn't get back fast enough. Eventually it rolls away from you, and it means they have to give up archway control as well. Kuna gets a little overexcited. Goes in a little too early there.
Yeah, that was a really aggressive play there. Ultimate going to be used there. They're going to use that amplification matrix. Maybe not in the most optimal time. Is Kuna going to get completely switched onto the Mei? And the re-engage is going to come through at this corner as Cat is taking so much damage. There's the engage from the Junker Queen putting pressure onto the Immortality Field, but what's going to get taken down? There's the Blade. Mickman dashing through, takes out Claire, and is looking for the Orisa. There you go. VTB is going to have almost 6 minutes going into point C. They're going to have 5 minutes and 48 seconds. They're rolling through here.
This is definitely the time bank that you want to have after you C9 on your defense. I think both of these teams, the one area which both of them could clean up on and both teams could exploit from their opponent, the supports tend to be using their cooldowns preemptively, right? The Immortality Fields are going out as soon as the Blade comes out, which means that these Genjis can just wait. Instead, they both want to go so fast, and here it is again. Another quick fight, Ken taking out what early on.
Bone gonna take out Claire though with that. Oh no, the ults are going left and right. Cat the only one left with the ult. Of course they're gonna use it into the back, not even going to catch a fly. Saffrona barely staying alive. The javelin gonna catch them. Cat just over in the side, gonna get run over by VTB. They stick their head out. Trying to use these cooldowns, keeping this going. And putting in the pressure on Phone, building up the Blizzard. That's right, Kuna throwing it in, not going to get denied, and there's Phone immediately shredded. Rainbow Road finally get a moment to breathe.
Nostalgia's just going to take a quick reset there. Saffrona's probably going to get out. I don't imagine they'll be able to chase this Kiri too far. Wood caught a little out of position. That was punishable for a moment. That nice Mei headshot dink would not have been healed fast enough by the Kiriko, but considering we went into point 3 with basically 6 minutes, burning it down to 4 minutes now is nice for Rainbow Road, but it's still an overwhelming time bank to play into. And Vancouver Titans Blue, they could just build 5 ultimates if they want, but it looks like from how things have gone previously, they're probably going to take this fight fast.
That they might. They have the Blade and the Casino Rush, and they have no defensive ultimate. There's your Coalescence there to try and deny, but your Blade from Nickman, denied the slash through, and gonna get taken down by the Coalescence. A budget ultimate denies value from not one, but two fight winners. Claire, just a budget round if I've ever seen one.
And now it's going to be Frona. Oh god, the furthest dagger's going to the May wall. No, okay. So Frona not getting picked up on the tail end of that, but Wood switched off the sword and then back again. 15%. Mickman 10% for the Blizzard, switching over onto the May. Phone now onto the Sigma as well. Vancouver Titans Blue lost faith in their composition, so Frona on the Baptiste. It's only Nostalgia who's going to have the sound barrier. They've got time and they've got the pick, but they still have to win 2 consecutive fights.
They need something big here. They need the ults to turn this around, as there's the Terra Surge just trying to buy them some time, but Cat's gonna die before it can be unleashed. They push in aggressive. Kenobi barely staying alive, has the beat coming up, but there's gonna be no one alive left for it. Kuna getting taken down, and that Moira is just barely able to stay. No, they're getting taken down. They just rushed in, and there's no one that can even touch. The beat is there, but it can't make them any faster. 2 minutes and 48 seconds on the time bank. VTB have a simple task. 1 tick and move on.
And they've got 3 minutes to do it in as well. That is a very forgiving position to put yourself in. You can genuinely afford to just like soft int for 3 or 4 fights and then just go in with 30 seconds left in your entire ult bank. Because Rainbow Road, they're going to have to cycle ultimates effectively to just maintain the defense unless they play their defensive positions perfectly. And one thing that I've noticed from both of these teams, they do not like to chill. They do not like to just play around the positions, play around the cooldowns. As soon as someone says go, they are just going 100%, absolutely zero restraint exercise. I think it's important that you do that with these brawl styles, but when you're looking at the kind of half brawl, half poke, it really is important for these teams to be utilizing the advantage they get from running that poke composition. When you're running the Sojourn, you don't want to just immediately smash faces, you want to give your Sojourn time to set up on the off angle. When you're playing the Orisa, you want to get that spam damage in before the Orisa is just throwing javelins into the Ramattra directly in front of her. You want to give your team a little bit of time to build up, chip down the cooldowns first, and then smash faces. Vancouver Titans Blue starting out on this Junker Queen composition with the Far Mercy is interesting, but if you're just playing for picks and playing for speed, I guess this is the way to do it.
It sure is. They want those early picks. It looks like the Widowmakers, what they're staying on, it is not just the early opening, and Cat getting a lot of damage peppered into them. They need to stay alive, but Nostalgia's going to be picked off first. It's a trade for the May, but that's a trade you take any day. But there's VTB taking multiple picks. They take out Cat. They just don't have the sustain to keep them up, and there you go. What taking out Kenobi is going to seal the deal? Well, another pick on the Candy couldn't hurt. And there you have it, Vancouver Titans Blue moving on.
That is pizza. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play a fast composition that is just trying to find picks, I don't disagree at all with Wood just committing to the Widowmaker there, because if you find ahead, that's it. You won. You won the map. It's just over at that point. Oh no, phone. Not first to 3. No. First to 2. It's over.
No.
It's Joe Ramamarade. No, it's okay. Vancouver Titans Blue, they're going to be fine. They thought they were going into a third map, but they'll be comfortable. They'll be going on to a second round instead. Their job is not done. And Rainbow Road, they'll be going down to the lower bracket. Maybe we'll link up with them later on in the stream. I mean, they put up some really good performances here, and I think if they take what they were doing against Vancouver Titans Blue, dial themselves back a little bit so that they can just like, hey, let's chill a little bit more. Let's play our angles a little bit more. Let's play our high grounds. Let's, you know, I think then you take out Nostalgia, right, and you lose the honor, but the respawns are so much more forgiving for Vancouver Titans Blue. You don't want to trade in that situation. You could have just played it safe and tried to whittle that Far Mercy down slowly, but yeah, I think if we just, I think both these teams, potentially their downfall is going to be just how much they want to hold W and press into their opponent as much. I think if we see those changes come through in terms of playstyle, we saw every composition under the sun except for Dive, pretty much. If they just change the way they're playing it, I think they will see a lot of effectiveness going into these later rounds. And for both of these teams now, it is going to be difficult. I believe Vancouver Titans Blue are likely to be facing off against Microwave in their upper bracket round 2. And Rainbow Road, if they lose in the lower bracket now, That's it. They're out, eliminated. So neither of these teams wants to be in a position where they're playing anything other than perfectly as they go into these later matches.
Yeah, and speaking of later matches, we're going to be bringing you some later matches pretty shortly, in fact, but we're going to take a quick break, get that all set up, and be back with more Overwatch action. So don't go anywhere, don't change the Twitch channel, we'll be right back.
Yeah. 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 Memories. Memories. Yeah. Memories. Memories.
And welcome back to the day 2 of the Kunoichi Kocoa tournament. We've got some interesting matches that have already happened, and we're going into another one. We're dropping into Michael Wave versus Vancouver Titans Blue. Interesting two teams, and an interesting place that this is happening. Michael Wave, of course, you've got Death, Ramosu, Mari, Aramori, and Scarlet on this lineup. Tell us about it, Willow.
This is crazy. This looks just like that mac and cheese roster, actually. I mean, we're seeing Ramosu over Jinjo, but this is that's weird. I could have sworn these are the same players. Weird how that's turned out. No, Michael Wave, we are familiar with them already. If you've been watching Calling All Heroes, you're familiar with them. If you've been watching Kunoichi, you are double familiar with them because they've been in both the EU and the NA sides of the tournament. These guys are, I mean, they're going to be pushing for that top 2 spot, if nothing else. I would imagine they're going to be trying to push for the win that they were so horribly denied in their initial EU matchup. I don't think that they're going to be going into this pulling any punches. They want to assert dominance, I imagine, going forward. It is worth pointing out that I do get to today cast my coach. I'll be making sure that Wicca is doing everything she should be doing over on that main support role. Scarlet will not be getting away with a thing. If we see any Ajaxes this time, you will not escape my all-seeing eye. But as we look at their opponents, Vancouver Titans Blue, that is the roster that we are already familiar with from our previous matches. Gaming, we've been casting this team a lot over the last couple of days, and honestly, they are a lot of fun to watch. The simply no holds barred, all out, all the time, let's just run it down main strategy is not always perhaps the most strategically sound, but it's very entertaining. And when we see them go up against teams like Rainbow Road, who have to do all this kind of constant counter swapping to try and figure it out, it really does feel like Overwatch played kind of at the spirit of what Overwatch is, you know, trying to counter these little micro strategies here and there and trying to figure it out, rather than just the Sigma sits on the high ground and holds mouse 1 for 3 minutes. The Widowmaker shot someone in the head. That was the fight. You know, I think it's a lot more interesting this way, and with the compositions that both of these teams are putting up and the fun that I'm going to have getting to say Michael Wave every single fight, I'm very excited to see these two go toe to toe.
Completely agree, and it is quite the fun name to say, Michael Wave.
I'm so sad I didn't get to say mac and cheese.
Macking cheese. Well, we had two
So
very solid names in this tournament. Michael Wave and Macking cheese. Oh, we're gonna be starting off on Antarctic Peninsula. You can tell we're feeling a touch silly here.
Mhm.
But Antarctic Peninsula is an interesting map to start us off with. It's something that I don't know particularly why, but I just associate with Orisa play, despite that being on shaky ground.
I mean, it's got a lot of these very classic poke brawl hybrid submaps, right? That play into these compositions that we've seen develop in the meta really, really nicely, where you've kind of got long angles that you can try and gain advantage of, but you've also got tight, narrow chokes that you want to play into and high ground control that you want to fight for at the same time. They play into these Orisa, Ramatra, Sigma styles really well, and I think when we're looking at two teams that should be phenomenal on those kinds of compositional matchups, it will be really interesting to see how they both approach these same submaps in maybe the same way, maybe different ways. What is Mickman up to? Who here's the bad Oh, were they loading into game for too long? Nostalgia owning up to that one quickly. A little bit of roasting going on from the team members of Vancouver Titans Blue to start us out. The Penguins are here. I mean, it's a nice point to start off as icebreaker because you get to see, like, there it is, the Pharmacy come out from Vancouver Titans Blue. If you were going to run it on any of these submaps for Antarctic Peninsula, this would be the one to start it out on. Seeing the rest of the team build around this with a Cassidy, Junker Queen, and an Ana, I mean, surely what is not going to be staying on that? Microwave playing all reliable. There's the Ramatra May composition. I think that overall, if Microwave were able to take the first fight cleanly, this will not be difficult for them to push into. VT Blee will have to swap, but hey, that's the one advantage of playing the Pharmacy. Sometimes you just get a kill. You just find someone, and that's the end of that.
Especially with Microwave's composition being so stuck together, one good rocket could do a whole lot of burst damage. As Mickman getting a lot of pressure put into him already with that damage coming in. On the side for Microwave, already flanking around, putting in some pressure onto Nostalgia, looking for that early pick, but it's gonna be Mari getting there first. Aramori getting traded out. Mari taken down two with just one Nemesis form, taking out that main tank. And there you go, it's going to be Microwave taking first point after a little bit of stagger. It'll eventually be Mari taking another, that's 3 for the tank.
I think it's interesting to see Ramsu playing onto the Tracer here rather than the Mei. It is going to mean your Sojourn can't as easily take the off angles because the Tracer's already going to be set up there. But it does also mean that Tracer can just play the wide angle for Icebreaker and deny any kind of space. Death does find the Farah to open this fight up, and that's surely just going to be Vancouver Titans Blue backing up, giving up the objective. Seeking out for a little bit for this Tracer duel. Microwave are pushing all the way in.
What? What just completely got taken out by Death? And Mickman, there's so much pressure going into them that you just have to run away. For Microwave, Amsu goes down, and it's not looking good. This aggression was not well thought out, it seems, for Microwave as they push in. Barrage in the sky stays alive. Even still, the nano and the healing from Mercy helps top off the Farah as Mari goes down, and eventually the stagger will go through. There you have it, Death using the ult to seal the deal, just can't find all the picks they need. The Phone is going to use an ult pretty late and pick up the kill onto Death with it. So there you go, there's the finally swap.
It was going to be a 4-for-4 ult trade from Microwave, just trying to recover that fight until Phone pulls out the Terror Surge. Now we're just seeing no ultimates for the side of Vancouver Titans Blue at all to try and hold on to this. Microwave 60%, so VTB, it's not last fight territory for them if they lose this, but you still don't want to just throw away a Terror Surge like that. You would want to have that going into this fight.
100%. And for what? Now lurking on the side, Ramsu as well, lurking on the other side. Just looking around, looking for that flank, has the pulse bomb, throws it in, gonna miss a stick onto the Ana, but get some splash damage in on the side of the point, looking over toward Microwave. Is the soul gonna be resurrected before it even hits the ground? Mari goes down a bit too over aggressive, and Mickman just flies across the entire point and gets right back to their team. And Safrona gonna go down in the end, but VTB will take the lead.
Safrona should have been punished much faster for that res. They took so much damage early on that should have just been an easy elimination, but the Baptista's not able to try and find it. Pulse Bomb goes wide, and now Aramori has the opportunity to use the window.
Immediate flip over from Microwave, and the Nano Boost on Safrona is going to mean a very scary Orisa that's taken almost no damage. Still, Ramsu goes down, and Nickman finding 2 on this Pharah, playing incredibly well. And there you go, the res on the one team member of VTB that goes down. There's the barrage from Nickman to seal the deal and take out Mari.
83? No, just 82% from Microwave. They have pushed into last fight territory now, but they also can't really afford to lose any more fights. They don't have any ultimates going into this. Maybe going to build that sound barrier or the overclocking time. Ramsu, very quick to the pulse bomb, but VTB, they've got the defensive advantage.
The stick! Oh, the stick onto Nostalgia is a huge pick from Ramsu. Terra Surge into the back line finds Aramori. That's a huge turnaround. The res onto Nostalgia is there for VTB. They have a chance, but Death says no. Safrona, the only healer left alive for VTB, and it might be the last one left alive. As the point flipping over, Death finding 2, finding the 3rd. Living up to their name, and there you go. Microwave will take round 1 as these staggers come through, and that's round 1 going right the way of Microwave.
Not yet. Hey, baby now.
Wait. Going.
Baby.
Right away
There
of
you go.
Microwave. There you go. You gotta get the punch on the little like circle going.
I mean, it is
That
worth
way you can see
highlighting that
the
Vancouver Titans Blue could have had 2 fights there, but Death found 4 prolonged stagger kills at the end of it, and all VTB could do at that point was continue to trickle on slowly and throw off my co-caster, which is very rude of them, honestly. They should have just given Microwave the nice ending so that K-Wing led out the end of the map properly, but hey, whatever. Going to be going over to, I've forgotten the name of this one because the names for Antarctic Peninsula are absolutely terrible. What's this one called? It was Icebreaker for the ship. This one's like sub-level? Sub-something, I want to say.
Good question.
Who
Anyway,
knows?
doors
Either way.
open up for round 2 with Microwave in control right now onto the Ramatra composition with Bone coming out on the Reinhardt with the Junkrat as well. It feels a bit like deja vu here, but no man on the side of Microwave. Now Nickman trying to get that first damage and really just get in close and get that first that we aren't going to be able to see as much of from Microwave, as VTB going to cede high ground to start to take control of the point. Microwave going to rotate around and take control of this high ground, but they don't need to stay at that bottom point. They're just going to try and contest anyone that tries to put their boots on their point. Microwave Death over on the side can take out the Immortality Field, and immediate headshot with the right click onto Safrona, but it's Ramsu taking out 2 to take it solidly for Microwave.
We're really looking at this Genji and the Sojourn to be putting pressure on the high ground the Vancouver Titans Blue can't afford to hold. When they're playing this Reinhardt, they don't really have the poke presence that Microwave do have, and you need your Ramatra to be the one contesting the point to stop that 16% that Vancouver Titans Blue were able to just squeak away from really starting to tick up. We need to see Ramsu playing a little bit more aggressively, I think, but realistically, the poke condition from Microwave is just so much stronger than his.
That it is, and what? Gonna get taken out early. Nickman on the side of BTB needs to really perform well. They need these ults, but Aramori's gonna shut them down immediately. There you go, Mari to pick up 2 in the end, and Microwave is gonna take a quick fight.
Seeing the window come down and then immediately just the rail shot streak through the sky and find someone is very overwhelming. I mean, Vancouver Titans, they're using the tire really to try and buy themselves some space that Phone isn't being afforded, but this is the disadvantage when you don't play a poke favored composition and the enemy do. They get to take this space for free and now your tire is gone.
Oh, what and Phone both go down immediately. No ults needed. Death is just gonna use it more for celebration. Streamers through the air with those tracer rounds. There you go, Safrona going down. That's another one fight. There's just one fight left.
Oh.
What is Mickman doing?
It's okay. We're setting it. All right. If you can't force a poke, you find it yourself. There it is. Death living up to the name.
Getting picked off. Mari, though, using the ult, takes out Nostalgia to beat. There's just too many ults for Microwave. You can't really deal with Mickman too hard. And there you go, the pin on Tamari just doesn't do anything. Scarlet gonna get shattered. The only one beat comes out VTB, and that overinvestment of ults is gonna be a bit of a problem. Phone gonna go down as the VTB wears off, and now Microwave, they've got the blade thrown in. Ramsu picking up 2, and that'll be the end of it there as well. Mickman gonna try and fight. And emphasis on try, because that is a 2-0 for Microwave.
Vancouver Titans Blue just consistently getting caught on the rotations. They kept trying to find a little bit of a sneaky play here and there, but against a team that is just going to play solidly and consistently, and they're not even necessarily playing their brawl condition because they don't have the Mei in. Who are you looking for, right? You're trying to set your Junkrat up, but he gets poked out so easily with not really any kind of escape abilities that you can take advantage of, not really any nice angles that he can try and play around. It's just an overwhelming amount of pressure that's going to be applied to your team at all times. You're playing for that brawl of like, okay, as long as they're all directly in front of us, the Reinhardt can swing on them and the Junkrat can spam in and it'll be fine. But then Microwave show up with a Genji Sojourn. They're not going to play the Mei because they don't care about the brawl condition. They're just playing full poke, kind of the little bit of a soft dive in there when you're playing that Soj Genji. And all of a sudden, you just don't really have a response. Your Junkrat is just not going to find any value playing with the team, but gets caught out if they go on their own. The Reinhardt gets pressured out far too early. You're looking at your supports to just try and sustain through everything, but you don't have that same kind of cooldown rotation as the Bap Lucio get to have alongside the Ramatra. I think it's just a composition diff at the end of the day, and whilst Vancouver Titans Blue, I know they like to just try and run it down, force main straight away. If you don't get to main, if you don't get to the objective to force it in the first place, you got to start looking at, okay, what changes can we make going in? Because again, it's still first to 2. You lost your control 2-0 and it wasn't particularly close, really. Now you have to come up with a difference. And the last thing I want to see, okay? I need you to listen to me. The last thing I want to see is just a King's Row where we play far back on point and let Microwave poke us out. That's the last thing you can do. If you're going to go King's Row and play for the brawl condition, you have to bully them from the get-go, because if you don't, Microwave is just going to take all of the space and you're just going to get run over like we saw here.
Well, we'll have to see.
It's King's Row. It's always King's Row. Look, I didn't even bother mentioning the others. They don't exist. There's not anything worth talking about. I knew they were going to go to King's Row, okay? It's just the way you play it that matters at this point. I need you to play it better. I know you're not going to play anything other than Kings. Honestly, I think if they tried, they would just get outpoked. I think this is the right map choice for them. They just have to play it differently.
I don't know why Overwatch developers keep adding in more maps to the King's Row map type. Like, they call it hybrid. We all know that's not true. It's the King's Row map type, and they just keep adding more. It's the King's Row one. Because, let's be real, when have you seen Numbani in, like, regular play? When, like, Numbani, Midtown, come on.
Okay, I'll be honest. That brief period of, like, Numbani rush compositions with, like, the Reinhardt Ramatra, that was fun, okay? I enjoyed that quite a lot.
That made me feel alive.
Numbani also gave us, like, Diva double flex support with the Ana Zen for a little while. Okay, I like Numbani. I've said this before, I'm going to reiterate it. I actually quite like Numbani. I think when we do see Numbani played, it's with the most interesting playstyles and compositions you could possibly imagine. But, yeah, the one thing I don't miss is maybe the Violet Mercy. That's not particularly high on my want-to-see-again list. Either way, I can lament about it another time. It is going to be King's Row again. Probably King's Row for the rest of time. Vancouver Titans Blue currently hovering over a dive composition with Nostalgia on the Lifeweaver. I'm imagining so that maybe Phone can jump out, get a scout on what Microwave are running, and then get gripped back in. But maybe they commit to this. Okay, I got baited fully, actually. I was trying to strategize before the round had started, and that's my bad.
No, the door is open. What? Trying to find the early pick, and it doesn't look like... Well, it looks like an ego peek happened, but Ramsu did not get their head taken off. Good for them. Vancouver Titans Blue now playing on the Junker Queen comp. They're really going for the brawl, but
Veronica?
what rolls out on the Widowmaker? Scarlet? What is Scarlet?
Stop it.
Scarlet? What is...
I am roasting
What?
for that. What's with that?
Yeah, are we gonna be sassy on Twitter to her about that? Is that
No, in
was
VOD
it?
review. Veronica mentions anything to me in my VOD reviews, I am bringing that one up. Come on, man.
Good to know. Mari, though, gonna get taken down as the point starting to flip over toward Vancouver Titans Blue. They're going to get those 2 picks. And Hamsu gonna be the only one that can really contest, but they're gonna get immediately burst down by what? And there you go. It's just gonna be Microwave waiting outside the arch.
I do really like the way that Microwave kind of tried to take the aggression, but I like it better when Vancouver Titans Blue don't get psyched out by the Lucio just immediately wall riding into your backline and just go, you know what, that's fine. We just kill. I think when they are playing this Far Mercy composition with the Widowmaker, it kind of forces them to play a little bit slower, which for Vancouver Titans Blue I think is going to be an advantage they have going in. As long as they can hit a good nade, it gives them the opportunity to just run in with their Junker Queen, with the Shout, with the Carnage. And Microwave, when they're trying to play these kind of split angles, if the Queen just runs it down main really fast, there's not a lot you can do to respond.
Oh, an immediate shot from Wood is going to make this a 4v5. Mari going to get swept up. And there's the barrage from Nickman. Not going to find any picks. Only going to take up Charlotte. Mari, though, in the backline, taking out 2 with the Nemesis form. And the cart's going to start rolling out. VTB, with the help of Nickman, are going to get that fight pretty well.
Crucially, they've now been able to push past Archway very comfortably at Vancouver Titans Blue. It means they don't have to worry about getting stuffed by Microwave's brawl-ish, poke-ish composition. Ramsu going over onto the Tracer now. I think, realistically, they just need to commit onto the Mei. The Mei is the one key thing that can shut out all of this poke, but they don't want to commit to it for one reason or another. Nostalgia going to have the Nano Boost to open this out and try and close second.
Yeah, and Phone as well has the Rampage. And no beat so far from Microwave to use. There's the Rampage into the back, is going to catch 3, but Nostalgia's going to go down for it. It's an even trade 4v4. What? Trying to deal with Ramsu in the back line. There's a lot of ults coming out from Microwave 2 just yet. Scarlet has the beat and might just use it, but Nickman is just barely staying alive. VTC dashed on the rocks, and there you go. That is Microwave getting them on the free.
Death switches over to the Widowmaker to get ready to take that duel. I think either way, I think Microwave on an individual basis are able to try and take these fights with that just macro ego duel mentality, but we've seen what can do, and it's a scary one to take, right? If you lose that Widowmaker duel, you go into the next just automatically in a 4v5, and your Ramadra now is playing an entirely different game to the rest of your team. But it's not going to matter too much if you can find a Pharah like that early on.
It's an early pick onto Nickman, and Nickman now doesn't have that. There's a pulse bomb into the back, just barely. Soprano stays alive. Just get picked off by Death, who's gotten 2. That's 3 for Death.
We want to see punishment onto the Widow now, right?
Again?
Like, Death just has free reign. It's just taking over the entire lobby. There has to be some kind of challenge to this, but for as long as Phone stays on the Junker Queen, there's not going to be that tank pressure that you would usually expect. Death literally spawn camping right now, just able to hold these long angles that Vancouver Titans Blue have to push into. And even though Nostalgia has had this Nano Boost for the last 3 fights, they're not finding an opportunity for it. Now
Oh, Nickman gets nanoed and just deletes Mari and Aramori. Oh, wow. That was such a play. That's incredible. I mean, oh, man. Death again! Death is just... Death is just there. That's incredible. The beat coming out from Scarlet to just keep Death up and no picks come off of it. This is crazy here, Will. I'm not sure what's going on. VTP are gonna get the top. Gonna get it.
Overtime there. Nostalgia comes in with the Suzu to allow Saffrona's res to come off, and then Scarlet comes in with the sound barrier just for a Widowmaker. I mean, it's going to cost Microwave third here unless Mari doesn't die quickly, but realistically, when you're able to take fights like this, you're just trying to burn through the mental of Vancouver Titans Blue more than anything, and now their Queen's gone too!
That's a huge loss. Mari gonna take another, and Mari just in the back line, hold and block, and gonna take out the Pharah too. What a play from this Ramatra. Michael Wave holding on.
VTB seem a little lost with their composition. Okay, eventually gonna settle onto like a May Sigma. They've still got Wood on the Widowmaker, probably trying to use that to contest Death now, is just take the duel like I said, but even still, they've got to push onto third through these chokes with only 38 seconds left. They don't have time to play this slow, and they don't have the ultimates.
No, they really don't. Michael Wave with the window, and Ramsu with this pulse bomb coming up soon could be the death knell for VTB as Ramsu right in the back line, gonna pressure out, throws out the pulse bomb, and it still finds Bone! Even with the immortality out, it still finds Bone, and they're just gonna run over the rest of VTB. Michael Wave stops VTB in their tracks, 113 meters. No extra innings for us.
That is a worst case scenario when you're going into a pulse bomb. The pulse misses, it tries to go onto the Widowmaker after the immortality field is already forced, but then misses the Widowmaker. All the supports in the DPS of VTB just back up like, oh, that's a pulse bomb. We won't walk into that. Phone does not get the memo, strafes back into the pulse bomb, and you lose your tank instead. I mean, that's the holy grail of picks, realistically. If you're looking for a pulse bomb, you usually don't want that because the tank's going to live anyway, but hey, if you're able to take Phone out early, they try to switch over to the Doomfist, but there's not going to be any time to contest at all. You just don't have the seconds left, and Michael Wave, they hold it just at the end of second after an interesting first point and initial streets phase. They do decide to shape up and just take the fight as it goes. Death, I think, still looking for maybe just the sheer mechanical outplay if they stay on that Widowmaker. I don't dislike it when you're just playing into a team that seems to get a little disorganized in those moments, but yeah, I think it's exploitable. Exploitable if Vancouver Titans Blue decide that they want to play just a more classic composition. Mickman's still hovering over that hero select screen. There's only 15 seconds left. 10 seconds?
Buddy.
Mickman? Please. You're on defense. You don't have to. Okay, they're surely going to have to play on like a soldier or they're on the May. You're not going to get there in time. Microwave are playing fast with the Doomfist Genji. If they register there's only 4 members of Vancouver Titans Blue on point, they could cap out first very quickly here. Okay, the Lucio speed boost was there to get there. Okay,
And
it's all right.
there with the speed. It's okay. As
Mary goes back
open
over to the
like a wave.
Ramatra. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah. Michael Wave now looking for that early pick. Death rolling out on the Widowmaker, had such a good time on it. Finds the headshot onto Bone, but just able to tank it out is Bone. Ramsu on the high ground, looking for the engage through the immortality field, both out and gone. Ramsu's going to get deleted, but Zafrona going to fall, and that is a huge loss. But what with that shot onto Death to save this first point defense? And it looks like Michael Wave will be pulling back.
That last little pick was absolutely crucial coming through from what, because Safrona was one of the ones that died on Vancouver Titans Blue, Microwave did have the inroad to keep putting the pressure on, but once you're down 3, that's just too little. You can't go for it anymore.
No, and really aggressive play here by Aramori, going to stay alive for it, but that is a really close to just getting your head taken off there, and we've seen some big plays from these DPS. You can't be too careful as the immortality, as the implication maybe comes out, but Safrona is going to be the first to fall. Scarlet going to get blocked and stopped, but that is going to be the only pick for Michael Wave. They're going to roll through, and they're going to get to the streets with about 5 minutes on the clock.
Weirdly, both of these teams kind of opting away from the more classic just Mei Ram Soj with the Bat Lucio. Vancouver Titans Blue sticking on the Sigma that we've seen more classically over the last few months. And Microwave, they're going to keep Ramsu on this Genji, building it to plate. I'll be interested to see if they switch back over to the Mei later on, but they've been content so far.
Beat coming out, and I think Bone might have gotten their ult completely stuck. I'm not sure how that would have happened, but I didn't see it go through. What going to take out Mari with the help of that Wizard? A team effort. Now Death with the ult, trying to turn it around for Microwave. Thompson's gonna be helping out, taking out Nostalgia. Sabrona gone. There you go, the DPS of Microwave activated.
You may be thinking for a little while, we didn't need the overclock from Microwave. They could just kind of chill out and lose that fight gently. But the fact that they win it and that Death decides, no, we need to commit is a good strategic choice to get them through that archway choke. Now there are really no chokes that they have to push through to seal out the map here. Vancouver Titans Blue didn't push it all the way to second, so they don't have to play around that second choke. And Mari now on the Reinhardt. Death somehow just gets picked out at the start of this fight, but Ramsu's still sneaking around with the blade. Oops.
There's the blade smashing through. Gonna take up the immortality field. There goes Sabrona looking for two. Ramsu finds two and gonna pick up a third. Looking for the Mei and he'll find four. Looking for the ace, but will be denied. But they will not be denied of the victory as that card's going to roll through the end. 102 meters, there you go. Microwave punch their ticket to winners finals and send Vancouver Titans Blue to the lower bracket.
We do see VTB go over to that more classic Mei composition right at the end there, but you don't have time to bully the Genji properly. Now, usually the Genji would not be able to play that aggressively into the brawl, but the Mei just isn't there in time, and so I'm imagining this is going to be that blade to seal out the map. There it is. You would want a particular hero to be punishing this, but was not available yet, didn't have the time to set up properly, and when you can just lose 4 off the back of that so quickly, there's not a huge amount you can do. I liked the way that Microwave were playing this kind of Sojourn Genji look to punish the fact that VTB weren't playing those more traditional kind of brawl poke compositions that we've seen previously, just abusing angles and high grounds to get around it. But at the end of the day, I think even when we go down to just the micro 1v1s, we saw what really put up a nice fight in those Widowmaker duels, but when Death comes out and is somehow killing 6 people per fight, I mean, there's just only so much you can do into that.
And what an incredible performance from the DPS of these two teams. I mean, you saw incredible pop-off moments from, it feels like every single one of these players, every single time, no matter if they were on Microwave or VTB, they were still having moment after moment, pop-off after pop-off, and it means that VTB, despite being in the lower bracket, despite being sent there potentially a little earlier than they might have wanted, are still a threatening team, and they cannot be overlooked at all in their future lower bracket rounds. Because if you underestimate them, you will not be happy.
And for Microwave, obviously the comfort area for them is that now they've sealed their spot going into even further in the upper bracket. It's looking more and more likely that there will be those rematches between the players of Microwave, even if they're not technically macking cheese right now, and the NYXL Drainers. Either way, we will catch you hopping down into that lower bracket. After this break, we will see you then.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you want
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Back with the third and not the final match of today's broadcast. Welcome back to the Kunoichi Kocoa tournament. Day number 2. We're taking a trip down into lower bracket town where we're catching up with Vancouver Titans Blue as they face off against the Weird Squad for their tournament lives. One of these teams is not going to be walking out of this bracket today. I mean, not literally. They're all going to be alive. But they're not going to move on in the tournament. One of these teams gets to move on and the other is going to be eliminated. So a lot more on the line here, Willow.
I mean, it has been, like you alluded to, the Vancouver Titans Blue show up until this point today. We will luckily also be seeing some of our other teams going into our round 4, suddenly allotted, so stay tuned for that after this match. But looking at the Weird Squad, I mean, this is a team that I definitely don't think it can be overlooked. When we make it into these lower bracket runs, it does allow teams to kind of make those miracle runs all of a sudden. And Vancouver Titans Blue, whilst they looked really strong in their first round today, going up against Microwave, I think highlighted some of the weaknesses that can present themselves when you rely so heavily on just trying to find one pick here or there. But I mean, the Weird Squad, I'd imagine that not going to run out too heavily on the Roadhog composition. Maybe. I mean, it is definitely Sammy's favorite hero, but you know, as to whether it's going to be one that they stick to, we will have to wait and see, especially depending on the map that we get started out with. I believe it'll either be Busan or Ilios, I want to say. It's Nepal. I've been lied to. We already saw Nepal today. What? Anyway.
Well,
Going over to
again.
Yeah, and do you know what else we're going to be seeing again? Vancouver Titans Blue.
Vancouver Titans Blue.
We keep casting these guys, and they keep delivering. It's been a lot of fun. What just does find heads sometimes, which is crazy. Mickman showing off the Junkrat, the Tracer, the Genji. It's all over the place with this team. But I think it's really looking at making sure their overall cohesion and their macro play is solid that is going to help them make their own run through the lower bracket. This is a team that I would like to see pushing, if not towards that like top level, at least making it to the losers finals if they're not taking it into the top 2 in grand finals. This is a team that can definitely go the distance, and I think it would be a bit of an upset if they were to go out at this point. But nevertheless, we've seen the weaknesses exposed. We've seen the way that they can be, you know, taken advantage of in the way that they try and play the game. So we'll have to see the way that the Weird Squad want to try and handle this as we do go over to map number 1, which will be Nepal. Despite the fact that we've had Nepal before, and I was promised by no one other than my own confidence that we were not going to be seeing it. I don't know. I mean, looking at the submaps, we've already been a little bit familiarized with them. What are you thinking that teams might try and run here? Looking at Vancouver Titans Blue in particular, who have floated over a few different compositions, Kayway.
They have, and I think it's going to depend on what submap we open on, that we're going to see some different things. I'm feeling within me that Ramatra style brawl that we've seen a bit of from a lot of these teams. I think that might open up on a few of these submaps, but it could very well depend on if we're going to Sanctum or Temple or Village. Those 3 submaps have very different levels of hospitality towards a team, a composition like that. And just like that, we do see that we're going to be going toward Temple.
This is going to be an interesting starting point out of all of them. I think this does offer the opportunity again for another one of those kind of brawl versus poke matchups, where if the poke is able to take the high ground early, they can essentially play that win condition for the entire map. But on the other side, if it's the brawl, you're going to have to swap your composition, because you will just get stuffed in those small rooms coming out of your own spawn and not really be able to find any value at all trying to push in. I think one thing that is a little bit of a curveball is the potential for the Queen versus Roadhog. I was thinking about like a Sigma versus Ram, right? Or a Sigma versus Rhine, Ram versus Rhine, maybe? Something along those lines. Phone now hovering over that Reinhardt, but Sammy going to be sticking on the Roadhog. I think this can work out well if you're able to just apply constant pressure to the front line. The obvious downside is you're no longer going to be able to as effectively contest Woot, who is now on this Ashe and going to be able to pepper in from those off angles almost for free.
Doors open on an elimination match. The first one we've seen on stream, as Sammy on the Roadhog has the pig pen out and is waiting for someone to get hooked into it for that one-shot combo. Let's see if they can find something big. BTB playing very smart around it. Gallo just peeking out. And there's the hook. Sammy finding 2, hooking Phone into the pit. And there you have it. There's the Weird Squad taking a massive first fight. Phone switches onto the Hog.
Yeah, Phone now onto the Hog as well. Sammy picking up a late stagger onto Minkman as well. Vancouver Titans Blue, the key thing is that they didn't have to walk onto that high ground position. If the Hog gets it, you still just have to be scared of the hook going into that Sanctum pit, but you can just play the objective and try and force it out there. Vancouver Titans Blue, being the ones that try and push the initiation, despite having the map control, actually get punished for it, because they just play exactly where the Hog wants them to be.
they do. And Safrona early taken out. Stargaze just hooked in, and there you go. That's the headshot. And that's it. I mean, BTB is getting early picked off, and what's gonna get staggered, just barely staying alive.
Able to play around that mega pack. Looks like they didn't need it actually. I had nostalgia there to make sure that Ash doesn't go down early, but now we're in that all-important position that I mentioned earlier of you have to push out of this room, and you are playing into a competition that loves stuffing you. Nice little tracer duel here. Bigman will be able to steal away that mega pack, but Ella and Ella and Harlequin are able to play around each other all the more effectively, even without it.
Sammy going incredibly low. Kitsune rush from Stargaze to kind of deny the space at this point, as Ari firing off a shot, Hook coming through the middle of the map. Kitsune rush will eventually wear off, but it's time delayed. Pulse bomb thrown in from Mickman, who barely stays alive through it. Finally, Sammy goes down. Phone holding sway on the point, stuck with the pulse bomb, but healed right up. What gets taken down? So is Nostalgia. It's Nari with the ult on the point, just throwing in the damage onto Phone. Even the Nano can't take the Roadhog down. Safrona goes low, and Phone will fall shortly after. Safrona just waiting in that side hall. Overtime going to be triggered. It's just Nari on the point, gonna take out Safrona. It is just Mickman on the Tracer, keeping that wick burning, as there goes the Bob right onto point. Gonna get first down as the wick burns down. And the Weird Squad looking in great position as the flip comes through, but only for a moment. 99% as the overtime wick burns down, and the stagger in again. They're not letting this go. Harlequin going to get taken down, but there's just not enough there. All the effort from Safrona. It's not enough. The Weird Squad take round one.
I think it's good patience displayed there by the Weird Squad. They didn't want to take the initiative on that first fight, so they waited for the Reinhardt to come in. Reinhardt comes in, hooked off the map. Okay, they play patiently now. They know that they've got Mickman constantly pressuring their backline, but they just chill, they just wait. The pulse bomb from Mickman ends up going wide after spending so long building up to it. Alright, that's fine. And then they, even though they lose Sammy, right? Phone wins that hog duel whilst the supports from the Weird Squad are distracted. The Weird Squad have been able to build up to ultimates all the more effectively, and what I originally thought was going to be a nano overclock just to push them into overtime ends up sealing the fight regardless. And then Vancouver Titans Blue, trying to play fast as always, they're able to stagger out the point for a really long time, but it's just too little too late at that moment in time. The Weird Squad going to be rolling out on a different look this time, going over to the more classic Ramatra May Sojourn Brawl Poke comp. BTB sticking on the Queen.
This is interesting. Sammy and the members of the Weird Squad do not go to that high ground. Instead, take position on point and are going to defend that choke as BTB hover overhead. And there's the engage onto that Genji. Going to take so much damage, but Stargaze will get dropped on top of, and they're just not safe from Bone and Carnage. And that's going to be BTB not through just yet. They're going to take that point.
I actually really liked the way that the Weird Squad didn't try and play for the initial high ground. They know they've got the better brawl condition because they're playing the Ramatra into the Queen alongside a Mei. Vancouver Titans Blue do not have a Mei of their own. They don't have an easy brawl in that enclosed space. But then Stargaze gets caught out on their own. They're not playing on the objective itself, so the team gets split regardless. Now we're going to be seeing that Baptiste traded out for a Moira instead, so that Vancouver Titans Blue cannot repeat what they just did.
No, they cannot. They're going to be pushing right through, and Harlequin the first to fall, and Sammy right after, and it's just Nari going to get run over. BTB taking quick fights, and the tactical crouch from Mickman.
I mean, that's kind of the risk of when you switch off the Bap and onto the Moira. Sure, your Moira's safer, but you don't have anything like the Lamp or the regen burst for the rest of your team. The Moira wants to be using the damage orbs as much as possible, so the more time you spend just dealing in damage from the side of Vancouver Titans Blue, the more the resources from the Weird Squad get burnt. And now VTB coming up on ultimates and 50% on the objective.
Oh, Mickman's flanking around, looking for the dash through onto Nari. finds the dash in midair. Nari's gonna get taken out, not with the blade though. Mickman gonna get completely taken out with a right hook from Sammy. But it might not even matter. BTB is just rolling through. They're up one. They don't even need to use another ult. They use the Kitsune Rush just to seal the deal. Rampage as well, just to respond to this Coalescence. Two big fight-winning ults used. They're trying to just seal the deal. And if they get this, they get these picks on the reconstitute, the weird squad, they might just get it. Nari gonna get taken down. Oh, it's a disaster for them. They're pushing in right through the choke. The Blizzard comes out. The Harlequin will give their life for it. It'll be just enough to let the weird squad push through the choke. But can they even touch point before they die? There's the annihilation from Sammy. Will just get enough damage to take out what? But Bone engaging onto Sammy so incredibly low, trying to stay alive with this annihilation. It'll eventually burn out just by the 30-second rule, and it will go down. A lot of damage pumped out from that. It will eventually drain those resources, and the Weird Squad finally take the point.
Vancouver Titans Blue looked like they'd overinvested for a little while, but importantly, they held onto the sound barrier and the overclock. That was their win condition. The Weird Squad responded really well with Simon's annihilation to shut Wood out entirely and deny that overclock from finding another pick. But in spite of that, Vancouver Titans Blue just have another rush and another rampage anyway, so the Weird Squad, no beat to respond to either. This could be it.
Oh, and no Lucio to respond with either. There's the Coalescence. It won't even save Nari. Mickman is in the backline, and they're hunting for blood. There you have it. Sammy goes down 2 from Bone to clean up the Weird Squad. Point gonna flip over. The blade pulled out just to slash through Elo on the Lucio. 1-1 with Vancouver Titans Blue throwing a wild hit to even us up.
The masters of stalling the point out forever, showing us how you properly close one out without the Lucio touching 3 times every 10 seconds. That's just a blade popped to deny a Lucio who wasn't able to build up the sound barrier in time. No stall there. I don't think the Weird Squad were going to be able to turn it regardless, but hey, nice to see what happens when a team just, you know, decides actually we don't want you to keep touching over and over and over again. Handily won there by Vancouver Titans Blue. I think the Weird Squad looked like they had the odd advantage here or there, but VTB, they just played that overall macro considerably better. Interesting, because I still believe that the Weird Squad have the better composition, but in terms of overall play, I don't think they understand what their win condition is meant to be. They're trying to force these fights way too early and just end up running into a Junker Queen as a stacked unit who can just swing on them over and over again. Going into their last map of Nepal now, I want to see a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, that adjustment is exactly what they need. Mickman gonna dash into the pillar and run into some trouble there. That was just unlucky coming out from Mickman. Just missed that dash away, and Harlequin gonna fall soon after. It's still not enough. What with the hero play to pick up 2, even when Mickman falls short. What is right there? Eventually gonna be cleaned up. The 3v3 Stargate's gone, and there you go. That's your main source of healing. On for Weird Squad, and that point will be quickly flipped 14-0.
It's again just those moments of I kind of wish there was a Baptiste so that Wood wasn't able to just remove people from the playing field that quickly. It's not like the Immortality field is going to be there to save them 100% of the time, but the way the Weird Squad entered into that fight was so much better than previously. Now they're off the Mei as well. I think going into this kind of half mirror where you're playing the Moira rather than the Kiri, they're going to have a really tough time trying to take the space they need to take, because they have to push forward, and that's not really something their composition likes into a Queen.
No, it really is a disadvantageous position for the Weird Squad. They need to push in just perfectly. Pressure onto Mickman, going to get dashed onto, and there you go. There's the Coalescence. Harlequin taking out 2 on the Genji, and Queen and up the rest of VTB. That's the fight that the Weird Squad needed. A quick budget fight.
Yeah, and it was the Coalescence traded out for Kitsune Rush. Coalescence builds so much faster that Safrona maybe not going to have a Kitsune Rush before we're taking up to maybe like 60-70% on the clock here for the Weird Squad, who now have every other ultimate except their Blade and their Overclock, which they're probably going to build up to in this poke phase. They even have the beats to respond to the Rampage. we're looking at Mickman to try and blade in, maybe on the tempo, but other than that, Weird Squad very
Nari.
comfortable.
Nari gets taken down, and the beat from Nostalgia doesn't catch on to Sabrina. There's the Rampage. Phone's gonna take out 2 on the Junker Queen, and VTB roar right back onto point. They're gonna take it from the Weird Squad.
Nari just pushing up a little too far to try and build that overclock up. Ella tries to sound barrier in response to keep the Sojin alive. The Sojin dies, and you use the sound barrier not for the Rampage, which just gets to go in for free afterwards and find that final blow onto the Lucio anyway. Now VTB are the ones who are sitting pretty. They've got the blade and they've got the overclock, and the Weird Squad don't have a response.
Yeah, they have the offensive ults of their own, but like you said, no support ults to keep them alive through it. They just have to try and use them early, but Mickman is jumping right in, slashing, slicing, and dicing. Stargate is the first to fall, and it just forces the Weird Squad right into that choke. They're going to be so hard pressed to get out of it. They just have to retreat. Sammy going incredibly low, but makes it alive.
More importantly, they make it out alive at 90%. They're going to have to go for a fast weaken test here. We're looking at Harlequin's blade to maybe try and open things up and force cooldowns early. But 97 and counting, they don't have time to wait.
Lucio is the one that has to touch. Blade pulled out from Harlequin. It's going to be Nari to take the first kick. Another for Harlequin. That's 1 for each of the DPSs. If they're not going to get any more out of their ults, Harlequin is going to take a second. And there you go. Weird Squad are still in it. They're still fighting. 54 and counting.
Nari now off the Sojin as well onto the Tracer. What going over to mirror it as well, but importantly, the Weird Squad, they're only going to have the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier. Vancouver Titans Blue are going to have time to build up to another Blade, a Rampage, a Rush, and a Beat. As long as VTB just play the better macro and the ult economy here, they will be able to cap out this point without too much difficulty.
And they should be. But the Weird Squad and Sammy immediately. That's the time for VTB to push forward with the Kitsune Rush. Bone is ready and waiting with this Rampage. When Sabrina goes down, that could be the turnaround for the Weird Squad. That's what they need. What though? Running rampage in the backline. Rampage through, takes out Sammy. There you go. And that is the overtime wick burning down and a few percentage away. The Weird Squad cannot close it out. VTB takes first map.
And Vancouver Titans Blue, even if they lost that fight, they would have been going into next with Blade and Pulse Bomb and the Weird Squad. They would have already had to use their Coalescence to try and deter the Rampage. Honestly, I think Vancouver Titans Blue could have played that even slower, but that pick onto Nari right at the start was absolutely colossal. How does a Ramatra just fall over like that at the start of the fight during poke? That is not the kind of pick you want to see happen when you're playing into not the poke favored composition, but hey, I think VTB are going to take that any day of the week. You know, if the Ramatra's off the table, you are so much freer to do everything you want to try and force Weird Squad out of position. That was what we saw from Mickman's Blade as well in the fight before that. It didn't find any final blows or massive value on its own, but it forced the Moira to play on her own, and then the Moira gets picked off. You don't have that sustained with the healing anymore. I think the Weird Squad did a good job of backing out, just acknowledging, okay, we can't take this fight. If we get staggered out now, it's really bad. But either way, just an unfortunate position to put yourself in and a colossal climb to try and put yourself like into the shoes of actually getting up there. I think this is a good matchup. The Weird Squad, they've been taking it to Vancouver Titans Blue, but as we go over to these later maps, it is going to be those small macro adjustments, and the difference is in overall playstyle and comfort that is going to determine if this is going to be another set of 2 Overwatch, I believe.
Now, Willow, I mean,
Hello.
we're going into next map, and I mean, what Kings Row do you think that these Kings Row teams are going to Kings Row when they Kings Row their next Kings Row?
When we're looking at the Kings Row map type, I think it's really favored for that Kings Row tank, right? And then you can play that alongside the Kings, the Row, and then the Kings Row, double Kings Row backline, which would allow you to take advantage of the enemy who are probably going to be trying to do something like Numbani, which is stupid and everyone hates that.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, we are
What if it
going
wasn't
to
a
go start control map. We're gonna go start control map. It's not. It's not.
Numbani's
Check
not
live
in the map pool.
It's not. Check.
I'm
check
not going
live-
to. I don't need it spoiled
It's-
for me. It's Kings Row.
There you go. It's Kings Row. Anyway, unsurprisingly, we go Control, King's Row, and then whatever flashpoint they want, Hey Macarena. It's all pretty simple for that. And we've discussed the different theories about why King's Row is so popular. But when you're talking about King's Row, you're talking about teams that aren't really willing to experiment and don't want to leave that comfort zone. And that is not a negative thing. These are the teams that are just going to say, you know what? We know how to play King's Row. We are confident in our fundamentals. We don't need to bring out some wacky map that no one knows about, like Noombani or Midtown. I think those are government psyops, but you know, what can I say?
I mean, all I'm going to say is EU Kunoichi, they took us to Midtown. They knew what was up, alright? Maybe if we see Microwave versus Drainers again, we'll see another Midtowner. I'd not be upset about that overall. I think it is also worth noting that when you go over to a map you're very familiar with, it lets you play compositions you're less familiar with, right? You go over to a map that you don't know, you have to just play that one composition the whole time, otherwise there's two kind of uncertain factors for your team that you just don't want to have to deal with. King's Row is familiar, the compositions don't have to be to make up for that, and, well, I'm willing to become more familiar with Mickman's Junkrat, to be honest. We've seen how value it can get on this map, playing around all these side angles, these odd high grounds that not many other heroes are actually able to take advantage of. The Weird Squad, they're going to be starting out on something much more traditional. We do see that Nari Widow pick maybe out of spawn. I don't believe they find anyone on the back of that, but going over to the Reaper now with Stargaze on the Baptiste. This is not the usual variation you see. If there's the Reaper, you usually see the Moira. If it's the Sojourn, you see the Bap. So again, another little iteration that we're seeing in the Kunoichi tournament. I really like seeing how teams iterate on this competition.
Already, there's the push forward, and Elo's gonna get taken out immediately. What? With a second pick, a second headshot, and the Weird Squad just gets completely wiped. And I believe that Safrona is using the Disco Baptiste skin. That's so cool. That's like Disco Light. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's sick actually. But you know what isn't sick? Playing Reaper along long sight lines into a Sojourn who can just hit headshots that smoothly. What is just going to be able to have free reign here. The only one who can really contest is Harlequin, but Harlequin also has to be looking out for Mickman launching them all over the map with those concussion rounds.
Yeah, Mickman is going to be a force to be reckoned with. 93% to ult, just barely staying alive there. Immortality field to keep them up. But that Riptire could come in as a bit of a surprise, especially with those Immortality fields done and dusted. And Safrona gone. Mickman, the Riptire could be huge. Takes out Harlequin to trade out. It's a bit of an advantage here for the Weird Squad, but they need to take their advantage and press it now, as there comes the pressure with these abilities rolling through. Bone has the Annihilation and is going to use it to massive effectiveness. Mickman will go down, but it's 2 picks coming in for VTP, and that will seal them the deal.
We can see the way the teams are playing around the support picks in particular. Safrona going down early that fight meant that she wasn't able to build up to an amplification matrix to respond to Stargazers, but then as soon as Phone has Annihilation, we can see they immediately run towards Ella, who they know has the sound barrier that could respond, force that Lucio to make the judgment call of, do I try and beat maybe Ajax, or do I just let this fight slip away? The Weird Squad already got nearly 2 ticks on the board, so I don't mind them kind of giving that one up, but Vancouver Titans Blue, that was a costly fight that now they're going to have to try and hold on to first point on the tail end of.
4 ults coming up for VTB. The beat of Nostalgia is the crucial ult from VTB that they need to try and hold on to and use at the perfect time. Nari's Death Blossom could be big, but they're going to be taken out immediately. There's 2 ults used by the Weird Squad. They're looking to even this up, but it's responded to with the window and the Death Blossom immediately taken out. Elo bursts down. Blizzard thrown in from Harlequin. Is it going to land on anyone? It's not going to land on a single person. Stargaze gone. And what with the ult to take out 3 VTB holding on the defense.
An ambitious Blizzard there from Harlequin to just try and push the Sojourn and the Baptiste off the high ground. Naturally, they both just go over to the other high ground that doesn't have a Blizzard on it. And importantly as well, we see Nari not able to set up for their own Death Blossom during that fight because they had to contest with Woot and Sophrona, who had set up their Sojourn, who'd built rail on the high ground with that amplification matrix. Woot able to come in as well with the overclock on the tail end of that fight to clean it up. 30 seconds left now, and the Weird Squad only have Amp Matrix and Blossom.
And they use it early. Nari finds the pick onto what still has the Death Blossom. They're building up these ults. There's the Riptire, ready and waiting. It's gonna jump. It touches the point. It's a complete C9. They can't even get onto the point, and Nickman picks up 2 at the end of the fight. But it doesn't matter, Willow.
It felt like that Riptire was the go button. Right, as soon as Vancouver Titans Blue find a pick with the tire, that's when we push in. But then Mickman recognized, like, oh, I can't take this angle, it's going to get spammed down, I'll try to go a different way, I'll play it out to try and psych them out a little bit. And the mind games stayed in the mind a little bit too much. There was no one on the objective with their feet, just in their heads. And unfortunately, that means the Weird Squad are going to be rolling into second. And again, we're not going to see, once more, a team with Archway control, though Harlequin does get picked out early, punished for the ego.
When Stargaze gets picked off, Nickman with a smooth mine right into the back, and he's going to put even more pressure onto this Lucio. Elo barely stays upright.
Teams need to respect the fact that Streets phase, like, it's good to take that space, but if you take the space, you have to be willing to get out of it too. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation like this, where you got punished because you tried to get too aggressive, and now you're just getting spawn camped with delayed staggers. Weird Squad went into that second point with about 3 minutes because they were able to cap the objective on first without Vancouver Titans Blue touching and with Archway control. Now they're going to only have a minute by the time they're able to even get out of spawn, and Vancouver Titans Blue, they have the beat in the window to maintain this camp. If they really want to, the Weird Squad, they're going to have to Blade or Annihilation just to get out.
Yeah, otherwise Ella's just going to get picked off. They're just going to suffer. Phone is going to run rampant in their backline. They'll lose what? But that's okay. Oh, but losing Phone isn't good. They have such faster spawns, the Weird Squad. So they're going to be coming back a lot quicker. Annihilation used when Sammy is such low health is a daring move, but it might just pay off. Mickman going to get taken down, and somehow, some way, the Weird Squad overwhelm with just having the closer spawn.
But with 40 seconds left on the clock, they do manage to save the sound barrier. They're going to have Blade, Overclock, and Amp Matrix, but Vancouver Titans Blue, they're going to have Beat to respond, they're going to have a tire to find a free pick, and they've got the Annihilation to contest the space they need to build Sophrona up to another Amp Matrix. Weird Squad, they have to get Sammy's Annihilation up, or a pick early, or they're going to be in a rough situation.
The Beat only catches 3 members of the Weird Squad. It doesn't catch onto the tank. What? In onto Harlequin, takes them out. The Riptire doesn't find any picks, but there's so many happening. Phone using the Annihilation right in the back, gonna get taken out by the Weird Squad. Nari picking up 2, and Nari is staring at the wall for a second. Come on, wake yourself up. You've got a game to play, and it will be the Weird Squad ending it there, pushing.
Phone goes over to the Doomfist. Phone wants to try and touch this. No, never mind. Punches back to spawn. Punches back to spawn. There was a brief moment where Phone was like, maybe I can stall this out longer, but Vancouver Titans Blue, respecting the fact that they can play a little slower, back over onto the rematch now. That was costly for both teams, but I think for the Weird Squad going into third with only a minute left on the clock, it's still not a comfortable situation to be in. You have to start finding picks now, and you don't have the ultimates to work with.
No, Harlequin going very low, gets the final pick onto Mickman. Then Harlequin's gonna get traded out immediately afterwards with a good place. Nemesis form from Phone. There's the jump onto Sammy. Gonna get a lot of damage in, but Nari traded out. Sophrona gone. I think Nostalgia might have hit Nari off the map. Then it'll be VTB stopping that fight right there.
Sophrona got a little bit greedy with that. Exo Boots jump directly into a Sojourn who has rail. That is an ego play to make if ever there was one, but it pays off in the end. The Weird Squad are the ones back in the spawn room at the end of that fight, and with 20 seconds left, they do have the Annihilation and the sound barrier, but VTB Blue, they have the window and the beat to respond to it, as well as Woot, who can build up to the overclock.
And they have a lot of ults in last fight. As Sammy gets trapped up for a second, Stargaze goes down trying to protect them. Nickman traded out, but you don't have your Baptiste for Weird Squad. You just have to rely on the annihilation of Sammy. This is going down. Saffrona getting taken out is a huge loss for VTB, though. That could be the Weird Squad's opportunity. What? Pops the ult. So does Phone. It's going to be Nari taken out. Sammy going down next. And that is the hopes and the dreams of the Weird Squad dying in front of them. That is all that this cart is gonna do. 49.46 meters into point B.
They did manage to get it around a couple of these corners, but not far enough around that you're starting to feel safe by any means. This is a very achievable win condition for Vancouver Titans Blue. Ella again, just unfortunately a little too slow on those sound barriers. Stargaze already down without the Baptiste. Once that Lucio overhealth wears off, you just don't have the sustain anymore, and I believe the Amp Matrix already used to try and get the Weird Squad into position in the first place as well, just meant you don't have the Amp healing, you don't have Lamp, you don't have Burst. As soon as the sound barrier is gone, yeah, you're left out to dry. And Vancouver Titans Blue, they had a sound barrier of their own to respond, so it wasn't even like you had the advantage in terms of having all that overhealth to aggress in, because Vancouver Titans Blue had all the overhealth to just stand ground, keep themselves firm. Wood as well held the overclock for a really long time to make sure that that fight is closed out as well. Nice little bit of macro play there just to make sure that you're not investing everything, assuming that you're going to win it. And again, we saw Mickman's tire just at the end pick up the Baptiste, who was maybe just floating the idea of rejoining the fight. No, the tire is going to be there to seal that off anyway. The Weird Squad, I think this is winnable for them if they're able to hold well on first and get a good stabilizing position on Streets phase. If they're able to play around the archway, which is, like we've said, teams haven't been successful in making that initial, going from first through the archway stall really count yet. If the Weird Squad are able to make that work, then Vancouver Titans Blue are maybe going to have a rough time. But when I'm looking at these compositions again, it's going to be, okay, Mickman going back over to the Junkrat. I don't dislike for the Genji as much as the Mei, but it's been overwhelming for the Weird Squad thus far. They can't afford to get picked early like they have the last few times.
No, they absolutely can't afford that. It's a Weird Squad rolling out on this defense. They need this hold. They need to get some time off the bank. Immortality Field drawn out early from the Stargaze. Keeping up Lucio. Sammy going incredibly low, and it's going to be Harlequin taken down. Nari going low as well. Vancouver Titans Blue are sitting pretty right now, and the Weird Squad can do nothing about it. Phone going deep to find Stargaze. Sammy gonna fall soon after, and that is a quick fight taken by the Weird Squad. And there you go, VTB. They're gonna have 5.5 minutes on the clock.
The way that Phone played around that Ramatra barrier there, we saw Sammy running in with a Nemesis form, and Phone pops the barrier just in front of the supports. Obviously, it's not blocking the punches, but what it does block is the healing if Sammy goes any more aggressive. So instead, the Ramatra has to back out, start using that not power block, but the Ramatra double-crossed arms in order to make sure that no more damage comes in. And it's that slow whittling down of resources that Stargaze has to use the lamp and the burst that allows them to find that opening. And now, Vancouver Titans Blue using the window to secure choke, but it's Mickman who goes down to the deflecting Genji.
Yeah, and the amplification matrix just gets LOS by the Weird Squad, and there's Stargaze taken out immediately. Beat from Ella will not keep Sammy up. It doesn't land onto them. The LOS isn't there. Phone gonna land 2 kills, and VTB are rolling through. No signs of stopping.
Sammy's aggression is just getting punished so consistently now. Usually when that Ramatra is in Nemesis form, you're in panic mode because he's big and strong, and when back in the Omnic form, you're like, okay, the Ramatra is a fake hero again now, we cannot be worried. But instead, Vancouver Titans Blue are just using it as an opportunity to full aggress anyway, because Sammy's not getting the healing they need to be able to sustain the aggression that they're putting forward. And now it's probably going to be second that's closed out unless one of the Weird Squad can get on fast.
They get on fast. The rip tire from Nickman rolling around the side, looking to land onto the Baptiste, and it will perfectly, zoning out both annihilation out for Sammy. Nari finding the only pick, but it's Nickman take 2 down with the Junkrat and looking for more. Nari can't find more picks. And so it looks like it's just going to be VTB with 5 minutes 15 on the clock, looking to make 50 meters.
5 minutes, 50 meters. You have got 5 minutes per 10 meters of cart push, and you've already found the first 10, ticking up to 20 now. For the Weird Squad, this may just be it. There's not a huge amount they can do to try and turn this around. Even Harley Quinn's blade will be shut out by Nostalgia's beat. The Stargaze going over to the Alari, maybe just trying to find some kind of pick, but you have so little time and so little space to work with. Harley Quinn has to find this blade and not have it beat out and just immediately denied by Nostalgia.
Fighting for the high ground, what? Gonna take the pick onto Sammy immediately. You don't even get the time to pull the blade, and that blade's gonna get shut down. That's just all that you can say for the Weird Squad. The blade is pulled out and shut down. The cart pushes through, and Vancouver Titans Blue move on to the next round of the Kunoichi Kocoa lower bracket to face the winner of Samsara and 4 Kittens 1 Fall, or pardon me, yeah, face the winner of Yippee Carry and Rainbow Road. And then also got the Weird Squad eliminated from the tournament.
Unfortunate for them. We were talking about Nostalgia's beat, shutting down the blade. I think they had to go if they were going to use it, but just waited a little bit too long. By the time the beat gets pulled, the Genji's already so low. The Lucio doesn't need the beat to shut the Genji down, just a nice little primary fire headshot to close out the map. At that point, you don't have any ultimates to work with, you don't have any heroes to work with, you've already had the overclock through the window shut down so much of your team. An unfortunate situation for the Weird Squad to find themselves in, but a good start for Vancouver Titans Blue. Establishing themselves very dominantly in this lower bracket, they are going to be making their run all the way through. Even when we see something a little bit wacky come through, they're wacky themselves. Mickman's going to come through on that Junkrat and find, what, 3 per fight? I mean, it's insane to just watch a Junkrat so consistently lighting up the scoreboard when we've got teams of this caliber going into one another. The Weird Squad absolutely could have been taking it to Vancouver Titans Blue, but I think when push came to shove, Vancouver Titans Blue just played their macro a little bit cleaner, played their Junkrat a little bit better, and that's what allowed them to take the win. We're going to be going over to a short break, but as we said, we're going to be back. We're going to be going to a 4th round. We'll be seeing you very shortly indeed. We are not done just yet.
know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Deep
one last game before the road. Hello and welcome back to the Kunoichi Kocoa Day 2 stream. You've got me, K-Wing, you've got Willow. We've been here for a bit now, and we've seen some crazy stuff, have we not?
Yeah, I mean, I think the craziest thing was that we were booked for only 3 rounds today, and here we are back for our 4th little Christmas treat. Speaking of, I've got a little holiday treat of my own. Little mince pie. I've been eating these throughout the broadcast, and the icing sugar on them has been making me cough, so I'm going to hold off on this one until after the match, because me coughing in the middle of broadcast is surely not the most pleasant thing in the world. We're going to be revisiting with Rainbow Road once again, and you know how yesterday I was talking about how I don't expect to see any ball ever? I think it was this specific lineup I was talking about, like ball is not good, ball we won't see, ball won't happen. If there was ever going to be a time for not just Wrecking Ball to be played, but for there to be the Wrecking Ball mirror, would it not be when we see Cat go up against Ball and Danny?
Maybe. I think there's an absolutely big chance here.
Are we excited for that? How do you feel about the potential Ball mirror here? Do you think maybe we'll see a map other than King's Row for hybrid if such a thing occurs?
I think so. I think if we have two teams that are comfortable on the Wrecking Ball, I think that King's Row is not the best map for them. I think that they could go to a Numbani, they could go to a Midtown, they could go to anything that's not King's Row, please. Oh gosh, oh gosh.
They actually can't go to Numbani. I know I keep talking about it, but it is not in the map pool. They can go to Eichenwald, Hollywood, King's Row, or Midtown. That is their selection. And honestly, I think if you're playing the Wrecking Ball, Hollywood and Ike in particular can be really interesting maps to try and make that work. So maybe we won't see it. Let's look at the culprits themselves. 4 kittens and 1 ball. Let's take a look at our little Mew Mews. There they are. Wi-Fi Pingu, Danny, Shiro, and Dots. These are new names for K-Wing and I. We haven't, I don't think, been able to cast them yet during this Kunoichi Kocoa event. However, they are not new names by any means in the scene itself. This Ball and Danny lineup, the 4 kittens, 1 ball. What were they previously? Jazzy's Kittens? There's been a few different iterations that we've seen coming through, but 4 kittens, 1 ball. I mean, I'm excited to refer to them as the kittens, honestly, when I'm casting them. But
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see these Discord kittens and see if they can form a team.
Well, they're going to be potentially discording kittens if Dots does stay over on that Zenyatta. Hey. So we look over at our first map. We will be going over to
this cast. I don't
want to. It will be Antarctic Peninsula. You're stuck with me for another hour. Haha. Antarctic Peninsula will be our map 1. I was talking in the break about how sad I am that we have not got to see Ilios yet. I don't know what's gone on there. I think Ilios for the potential ball matchup would have been incredibly fun. Antarctic Peninsula may be encouraging a few teams to stray from the light that is Wrecking Ball and go over to something evil and dark and twisted, like Ramatra or Orisa. We shouldn't see anything like that in our Wrecking Ball fest right now. I would be very disappointed in any team that dared to bring such a composition out, because disappointed is the only emotion I could feel. Not surprised when you're going into a map like this, just upset.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Many penguins.
Look at them all. Some of them are just JPEGs. That's nice.
Flightless birds. My behind. These MFers fly as hell.
We're getting the Awooga come through in chat.
Awooga. Are you saying that? Don't say that at the penguins.
I think more importantly, perhaps that we need to point out, Rainbow Road have Avery coming again. This is a name we haven't gotten to see yet today from Rainbow Road. I'm excited to see that. 4 kittens, 1 ball, absolutely no surprises. Ball and Danny gonna be balling straight out of spawn. Pink on the Symmetra. We'll be curious to see if they stick to that. I'd imagine they maybe go for something like a Tracer afterwards, but Rainbow Road sticking on this Ramatra Jungle Queen composition. It is not dark and evil, it's just kind of dishonorable somewhat in the potential Wrecking Ball duel.
Yeah, as already those two flex supports jumping up onto the high ground for the team from afar, as Danny coming in to clear them away. Jumps right in onto Moira, but Wi-Fi's gonna fall down first. Shiro next, and Rainbow Road have run straight over 4Kittens.
Okay, you worked it in. That was good. No, well done. I
didn't even know.
I was gonna hold it a little while. I was gonna hold it for a little bit, but you just went in for it
That
straight
was
away.
accidental, fully. That was accidental. I completely forgot that I didn't think of the name of this team until I went.
You just
and
called
they've
them
run
4
over
kittens.
4 kittens.
I mean, that's the
That's
last thing you
bad.
want to see. That's terrible. Someone call animal control. What the hell? That's not what we want at all. No, Ball and Danny, it looks like the 4 kittens and the 1 ball are going to be going back to spawn, maybe making some switches here. Torb, May, they're going to be sticking on the Wrecking Ball, which is the classic, obviously, but the rest of the team looking like they're going to be playing around what you would usually expect to be a Ramatra. This is going to give them a little bit more of a firm positioning that they can play around and force Rainbow Roads to be a little bit more careful when they try and push in and give Danny a few more opportunities to try and disrupt, as we're seeing Candy going so low and having to run all the way around. Grabbing that
Yeah,
Mega Pack,
running-
but it's Shiro who goes
Coming
down.
onto the Mega and is still getting harassed. The fight is over. All of the picks are going the way of Rainbow Road, but still, Ball and Danny will find the 1 pick onto the soldier, but your team has lost their tank.
I mean, that's the necessary job of the Wrecking Ball, is to just constantly harass, but when you've got both Kuna and Candy playing around these off angles and trying to abuse high ground positions, the Wrecking Ball can only deal with 1. It was the good choice to isolate out the soldier because the Mei wants to deal with the Genji, but like you say, you still don't have a tank to play around.
You really don't, and that's the weakness of these Wrecking Ball comps that we've seen is they're using that Coalescence. Is going to get only 1 pick before getting taken out with a headshot. Ball and Danny a little stuck, barely stays alive with the adapted shields. That was 2 HP before they came up. And there you have it. That's Team Dream, though, getting taken down. Kuna pulls that blade from the contender's sheath. And as Shiro gets taken down, Candy and Kuna just roll right through. Rainbow Road are gonna take round 1 solidly.
4 kittens, 1 ball, really struggling to find any kind of positioning there. This is, like I say, just a facet of Antarctic Peninsula itself. These maps are so bunched up and so kind of... There's so many lanes that you have to try and play around and so many different positions that you have to try and push onto to displace a defending team. The Wrecking Ball composition, you would think, could maybe try and do that, but unless you're playing it with like a hard dive Sombra Tracer, the remaining members of your team still have to have a position to play around, and whilst the Wrecking Ball is looking for an entranceway in, Rainbow Road, they already have one delivered by means of every single choke point under the sun that they can just run their Genji and their Queen into with that shout over health. And the extra speed that comes from it. It's just going over now to a more outdoor map for Antarctic Peninsula. I think 4 kittens, 1 ball, they're going to find a few more inroads that they can set Danny up to try and find that position going into this, but when we get back over to Icebreaker, it may be a retelling of round 1.
It just
Danny?
might. As Danny's gonna get taken out incredibly early, and Rainbow Road, they're gonna see the opportunity.
Ooh, dear.
Danny's gonna get disconnected there. That is, that's unfortunate.
That's not exactly what you want to see. And when the Wrecking Ball does a little bit of poke and a little bit of setup and then dies during that, I'm starting to think, something must have gone wrong here, because we weren't even seeing the remaining members of Rainbow Road turn around for it. It was just the Tracer harassing. The Wrecking Ball should be able to get out of that, unless you're facing something like a disconnect. That is unlucky indeed. But unfortunately, unless... I mean, I highly doubt Rainbow Road are going to agree to a full map restart here, obviously on control. You can't even just restart the round easily. That may be round 2 just getting away from 4 kittens, 1 ball. We saw how easily you can snowball on maps like Control. Without that defensive positioning, I mean, again, we're looking at this Wrecking Ball trying to find a way in at all, but it just leaves so much opening for the Junker Queen to run on the rest of your team with that Lucio amp, with that shout, with the Genji. I think for Rainbow Road, they've put themselves in a nice little position here, but for 4 kittens, 1 ball in a 1st-to-2 series, where they've maybe lost the first map just to unfortunate internet, that could be Very deadly indeed. We're going to be going back into map. Discord Overwatch just died for Danny. That is unlucky. And we're going to see a little bit of restraint exercised by Avery for just a second before this queen decides, no. No mercy, let's go back in.
Yeah, and I mean, you have some opportunity if you jump right into it as the point starts ticking up. 4Kittens 1 Ball are going to try and engage their Danny, able to escape just barely with their lives, but Immortality Field has to come out from Mean Green to stay alive through Avery's aggression, and they just will, as now there's the pick onto Avery that 4Kittens needed. Mean Green gone is a big blow to their ambitions to push forward. Pingu on the Torb, gonna find the pick, and he goes down. Rainbow Road might just be off this point. They're gonna stall out as much as they can, but the flip comes in for 4Kittens 1 Ball.
Weirdly, getting the Baptiste pick onto 4Kittens 1 Ball there isn't actually as deadly as you would expect. The Wrecking Ball is just trying to self-sustain. The Lucio can amp healing rather than speed once the team is already situated on the objective. Pingu and Wi-Fi on the Mei and Torb can just use their respective healing and overhealth to sustain themselves through that. So even though the BAP goes down, it's not the end of the world. And then it was 4Kittens 1 Ball finding a couple of staggers towards the start of this fight as well, and setting up to punish Kuna, who's just trying to sneak away the objective a little bit on the Tracer.
Trying to put in some pressure, but Pingu gets immediately deleted by Candy. Even that window won't save you. Meme Dream and Shiro getting taken down by the Coalescence of Claire is immediate death. 4Kittens 1 Ball just can't stay alive, and Rainbow Road are gonna quickly take that back. That is a deadly support.
Meme Dream going over to the Ana now. The anti-heal is going to be all the more effective at trying to put pressure on the Junker Queen. However, it is not going to be effective at dealing with Kuna on the Tracer, who's now going to have an even easier time trying to pick off that support unless Shiro puts in the overtime work to keep the Honor alive. The beat comes out just to deny that pick.
Just to deny it, the pick onto Avery is there, but with 55% remaining, and with Danny in that chat reporting ping spikes as high as 100 milliseconds, that's not good for playing a character like Wrecking Ball. Might be in a bit of trouble, but they do take the point, and they are going to have a bit of sway.
65 to 50 now on the objective. 4Kittens 1 Ball have the ults, but Danny does not have the internet connection. I think, yeah, that is getting a DC. Nope. Just a spike. Okay, Danny did not disconnect. That's crucial because it means that she does not lose the minefield. That's like the really important one that you do not want to have to drop there, because that's your point contest and your stall potential. But even still, the Wrecking Ball taken out early from this fight because of a ping spike off the edge of the map. Just unlucky, I am afraid. Rainbow Road, they've got a win condition here to be pushing us into not just last fight territory, but maybe to the end of this map and taking us into our hybrids. But please don't be King's Row. Gonna be jumping right back into the game straight away.
Gonna be jumping right back into it, but the point is gonna be pressured out immediately. Because without your tank, you're just gonna be in some trouble. As Danny's gonna jump right back in, use that minefield and slam onto the ground. Claire able to just maneuver out of it. Candy low. These picks are not coming through for 4Kittens. Meme Dream staying alive. There's the pick onto Kuna they need. They lose their Ana in the process. Blizzard thrown in to keep them alive, but if it can't freeze up anyone and it completely whiffs, it just won't provide any value. That'll be the point, pushing away Rainbow Road, 92% for 4Kittens.
Using the Rampage to both get out of the Blizzard as well as close out the fight is just really nice to see, but it does mean that Rainbow Road are going to be going back into last fight territory with only really support ults. Maybe Candy can build up this tactical visor in time, but oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, well, Candy's definitely going to be able to build up this tactical visor in time, and 4Kittens 1 Ball maybe only going to have their tank back in time when they're at 95% on the objective already. Anti-nade comes through from Meme Dream, but maybe too late.
It's not enough. It's just not enough. 4Kittens 1 Ball have just gotten completely picked off. Danny off the map, and just the ping. You feel like there could be better fights here for 4Kittens. If Ball and Danny wasn't suffering out of the ping, it's nothing that they can do. And, I mean, oh man, that's really rough.
That's, yeah, that is... Yeah, I don't know what's causing this. We can see Danny ask, like, could we please change server? But, you know, the server seems to already be set up as it should be. It's a really unfortunate position to put yourself in, and almost like a monkey's paw for us, asking for another cast. Okay, sure, you can cast another team. They're going to DC constantly. You're not going to be able to see them playing at full strength. It doesn't feel good at all. We're watching this and we're like, this is how they could be setting up, this is how they could be doing it, and then we just see Danny off the map, already eliminated by the internet. Weirdly, not by Wi-Fi, though. You know, that would be an interesting thing to see. Maybe teammates will bite back at some point, but I think for Rainbow Road, if they're able to keep capitalizing off bad internet, they should be rolling through hybrid pretty comfortably.
That they should be, but I mean, there's only so much to say when you have a fight like that, you have a map like that where you really could have won, and you really had the power there. You had the lead for that second round, and you just had your Wi-Fi turn against you. And
Not the player.
Not the player. You just had your own internet service turn against you.
That is... We're going to be going over to Ike for round 2. Are you excited? I heard your little gasp. I know. We had the little whisper in our ear and both of us paused in hesitation. Like, why is this one all of a sudden worth hearing about? Eichenwalde. No more King's Road. This is exactly what I want to see from a ball composition, to be honest. And for 4 kittens, 1 ball, if we can sort out the ping issues and the latency problems, this could be exactly what Danny needs to get back into this series alongside her kittens. Eichenwalde has been a classic for Wrecking Ball compositions for years now. We mentioned Aiming yesterday, you know. We've not really got to see anything quite like that in Overwatch 2. But yeah, Ike, I'm excited to see. It's not King's Row, and I think this is a map that suits the composition that 4 kittens, 1 ball want to play really nicely. Happy.
I agree. I really do. I think that Eichenwalde is a great map for 4 kittens, 1 ball. I think it's really one of the more ideal maps for a Wrecking Ball composition. But again, you just have to hope and pray that whatever is plaguing Danny's internet is going to be fixed, because, I mean, that way 4 kittens, 1 ball can play up to their full potential and really get through, because I think that they can make this competitive. And it looks like Ball and Danny is at 20 to 30 ping. We have got a match.
Yay! No more deaths and fights and rounds lost to bad latency. That is going to be refreshing, and I'm sure for 4 kittens, 1 ball, and Danny in particular, it was frustrating on the mental to be trying to set up properly and then just having something entirely out of your own control mess you up so consistently. Hopefully, this little refreshing element of, okay, we're on a map we like, the ping spikes are fixed, we can reset the mental and go into this as though this is map 1. Maybe we're going to see our first 3-map series today, K-Wing. I would be excited for that, and honestly, if we can see this Wrecking Ball composition capitalize on the newfound freedom of not being laggy, I will be very happy indeed. I like it when teams play something unusual. I'm sure you're already aware, and the Wrecking Ball is as unusual as it gets.
Doors open for 4 kittens. They need something big here. And they need it now if they want a chance to push through. But they lose Pingu immediately. Mean Dream as well. And that is not a good start for 4 kittens as they try to not lose 2-0.
I mean, it's only first fight, alright? Give him a little time to warm up a bit. Meme Dream now going over onto the Ilari to just try and... Oh, wait, no, the Baptiste, actually. Just try and sustain a little bit still. Rainbow Road, they're playing the old reliable composition, but it's very pokeable. So for 4 kittens, 1 ball, I want to see them try and force these fights to be slowed down, use Danny on the Wrecking Ball to stall out for time as much as possible, so that this May can keep landing headshots like those and force a free shout early.
those were two big headshots coming out with Wi-Fi on the Mei. They're gonna get taken down. Paul and Danny finally able to ball out as they should. And there she goes. Jim's getting taken down though, and Pingu as well. It's not looking good for Kittens. They had their opportunity, but it seems like the door is closed right on top of them. This is just Danny and Cheryl on the point. They're gonna take out Finn. He goes down, throws out the minefield of Danny. Rolling through just 120 HP. Gonna get harassed by the Tracer and taken down. That's it for 4 Kittens, 1 Ball. They're gonna get stuck with the Pulse Bomb. Pingu barely survives. Top of the overclock just to live it. Will eventually fall. And these are big staggers. They're going down. Candy with attack visor just to rub salt in the wound for 4 Kittens.
And Rainbow Road, they're going to be going into this next fight with Coalescence and Beat, which is basically just an automatic fight win because you can sustain for so long when they still have the defensive position as well. It just gives them so much advantage. And even now, there's even more stagger kills as 4 Kittens are just trying to set up. The 1 ball is still here, but 1 ball is not enough to turn an entire map. The Mei gets knifed and pulled out of position. Wi-Fi forced to burn both cooldowns, and now Rainbow Road, they just get to hold so close, building up to that rampage as well. Shiro has the sound barrier to respond to 1 of them, but they have to start looking at Meme Dream's Amp Matrix, or if they really wanted it, Pingu's Molten Core to just try and open up some space here.
And there goes the Rampage. Beat has to be drawn out for it. Molten Core from Pingu thrown into the back, trying to split them up, but Pingu is going to be taken down instead. That's devastating for 4 Kittens. They just can't seem to find a foothold. Meme Dream taken down Gracie, and even Danny Slam can't bring 4 Kittens back into the fight.
1 minute left. Now, 4 Kittens, 1 Ball have a crucial decision to make. Do they just try and build up to ultimates and take these fights as quick as possible? Or do they just try and win it now? And the Pulse Bomb, the Moira onto Danny, is going to be enough to seal that question for me. Now you only have time for 1 fight regardless. You've got the Mines and Meme Dream. Swatches off of the Baptiste onto the Moira. Completely gives up on the Amp Matrix. Rainbow Road now. They have the opportunity to just spawn camp entirely as Danny uses the Mines just to try and get to the first choke.
This is absolutely devastating for 4 Kittens. Beat used aggressively, and Candy's got 2 with attack visor, picking up a 3rd. And the Soldier 76 finishes the fight. Avery just slamming themselves into mines. I think that might be a full
building up some ult charge
for Candy. And I mean, no one's gonna even be able to touch the point. 4 Kittens, 1 Ball. That is a GG's put in the chat from Ball and Danny, not realizing that you still have a defense to play.
I mean, realistic. I thought Danny thought it was quick play. Chime, never back down. This is
never back down, never what? Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Never give up. I mean, never back down, never what?
For 4 Kittens, 1 Ball. The what is the thing that they have to worry about because they have got a monumental defense that they have to mount here. I think trying to preserve the mental is maybe the best route they can take here unless they are able to make miracles happen. We are going to be seeing the start on the Zenyatta. I think this could give them the pressure they need to finally secure some of these kills. The number of times that the members of Rainbow Road were going low but just not quite finished off, this might be the turning point that they need to turn it around. Wi-Fi on the Sojin as well is going to give them that extra poke potential going into the Junker Queen to maybe contest the Soldier a little bit more effectively. We've seen Danny trying to uproot the Soldiers so consistently, but Candy, she's just been playing around that positioning so well. The legs come out and sprint around, and the Bull can try and keep up, but can't easily boop and miss position. I don't know though. I'm maybe coping a little bit too hard. I want to see this Wrecking Ball composition pay off, but as we go into what could be the last minute of our series today, it's not looking fantastic.
It truly isn't, as Kuna decloaks on the point. I was scared too for a second. I was about to be so terrified taking the duel with Wi-Fi, gonna win it with the virus. Shiro's immortality field gonna go down as they jump up and make themselves an easy tracking target for these hit scans. And that is the call of virus OP from Wi-Fi, and GG from the rest of them. Cap point, please. Thank you. That is GG's. Rainbow
GG.
Road moving on in the bracket stage. And sadly for Four Kittens, One Ball, they have been sent back to the animal shelter.
I mean, an unfortunate way to put it, but yeah, eliminated from Kunoichi Kocoa for this time around. Maybe next year, alright? They'll be able to make it work. I mean, Echo on the production side is going to be able to attest to how much I hate Virus as an ability in particular. It is lazy. The fact that you can just throw it in and get free damage basically nullifies a lot of the skill in many of these duels, and Wi-Fi can't fault them at all for being on the receiving end of that and saying Virus OP at the end. But no matter how OP Virus as an ability may be, I think the crucial factor was more just that you were trying to defend for 4 minutes straight, and you didn't even manage to get a single cap on the checkpoint. The summer only came out at the end there, okay? You don't get to cope that hard for the entire series. Rainbow Road is a team we were looking at, and we were seeing them go toe-to-toe. It's been a long 4 series, okay? Seeing them go toe-to-toe with Vancouver Titans Blue. They will be maybe moving forward to take on that rematch in this lower bracket, pushing forward to try and make themselves the contender against Microwave or NYXL Drainers. That is going to be a monumental task for them to have to go up against, but those two teams, I mean, I want to say that maybe they could be toppled by something unusual, but I don't know as I can say that with confidence. I think for Rainbow Road, playing to just try and trade one back against Vancouver Titans Blue is their goal for the remainder of this tournament, and hey, if they can make it into second place, third place, I would be very happy indeed coming out of today with the way that they have performed so well indeed against these teams. But that is it for today.
Indeed, it is. That's going to be it from us. We're going to sign off, but make sure to tune back in here the next day. I know words. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. We don't have an EU broadcast next morning, but we will have the conclusion of the NA bracket. So make sure you don't miss that. I believe that's 3:30 Eastern for us. I'm just going to check and make sure that I'm not misleading you. I don't want to spread misinformation on the internet. I'm pulling up the schedule. I'm correct on this timing. I'm so smart. Anyway, tune in at 4 p.m. Eastern. I put the caster call time.
Yeah.
Tune in at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow for the conclusion of the Kunoichi Kocoa tournament. And we can see if one of the teams that we have been following today is going to come out on top, or if we're going to have a surprise from the lower bracket potentially come in and make a Cinderella story. We'll just have to see. Big thank you to the wonderful people at CGL for putting this on, for the organizers, Tiny Shiny Headrammer, to our wonderful producer Echo, and our observers who have already left. I can't blame them. And for everyone who helped to put this on, thank you so much. Thank you to you, Willow, for joining me. Until tomorrow, thank you all for watching. And remember, don't tilt in your ranked games. Good night.
I'm not crazy, Malin.